And good evening, ladies and gents, or good day, and welcome to episode 7 of Splendid Isolation. And before we get started, just to give people a bit of time to get in, I'm going to do my usual thing, and that's a bit of music.
Now we are ready to head for the horn.
Way, hey, roll and go.
Our boots and our clothes, boys, are all in the pond. To me,
Rollicking randy dandy, oh. Heave a pole, oh, heave away. Way, hey, roll and go. The anchor's on board and the cable's all stored. To me, rollicking randy dandy, oh.
Soon we'll be warping her out through the locks.
Way, hey, roll and go.
Them pretty young girls will come down in their flocks. To me,
Rollicking randy dandy, oh. Heave a pole, oh, heave away. Way, hey, roll and go. The anchor's on board and the cable's all stored. To me, rollicking randy dandy, oh.
come breast the mouth, police, and heave her away.
Way, hey, roll and go.
Soon we'll be rolling away down the bay. To me,
Rollicking randy dandy, oh. Heave a pole, oh, heave away. Way, hey, roll and go. The anchor's on board and the cable's all stored. To me, rollicking randy dandy, oh.
man, stout capstan, and heave with a will.
Way, hey, roll and go.
And soon we'll be driving away down the hill. To me,
Rollicking randy dandy, oh. Heave a pole, oh, heave away. Way, hey, roll and go. The anchor's on board and the cable's all stored. To me, rollicking randy dandy, oh.
heave away, police, you parish rig bums.
Way, hey, roll and go.
Take your hands from your pockets and don't suck your thumbs. To me,
Rollicking randy dandy, oh. Heave a pole, oh, heave away. Way, hey, roll and go. The anchor's on board and the cable's all stored. To me, rollicking randy dandy, oh.
roust her up, police, oh, wind drawing free.
Way, hey, roll and go.
Let's get the glad rags on and drive her to sea. To me,
Rollicking randy dandy, oh. Heave a pole, oh, heave away. Way, hey, roll and go. The anchor's on board and the cable's all stored. To me, rollicking randy dandy, oh.
sing goodbye to Sally and goodbye to Sue.
Way, hey, roll and go.
For we are the boyos who can kick her through. To me,
Rollicking randy dandy, oh. Heave a pole, oh, heave away. Way, hey, roll and go. The anchor's on board and the cable's all stored. To me, rollicking randy dandy, oh.
we're outward bound for Valuable Bay.
Way, hey, roll and go.
Get bending, me lads, 'tis a hell of a way. To me,
Rollicking randy dandy, oh.
And there we go. That was a capstan sea shanty, which was used in the Merchant Navy rather than the Royal Navy, when they were using the capstan, which was usually to pull up the anchor and stuff like that. Didn't really believe in sea shanties in the Royal Navy, but they were very, very common in the British Merchant Marine. Welcome, Ataman. How are you going?
Yeah, good, you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. There are some other people been invited. We'll see who turns up and who doesn't. Having a good week.
Yeah, it's been pretty good actually. Busy, but good.
Yeah, cool. Same. I mean, yeah, I suppose I was fairly busy because I moved, so I had a few bits and pieces to go and buy and that kind of stuff. But yeah, we've been having loads of rain, which is, well, I mean, supposedly good because we sometimes get drought scores, but we've been having quite a lot of rain this last week.
Mm.
And when it rains here, you really don't want to be out on it because you're going to get absolutely soaked. It's pretty heavy. So yeah. Now, anything you want to bring up particularly today, Adam?
You know what? I was reading about an hour ago. I was reading a paper on the Opium War.
What, the 1840s one, or yeah, I suppose it would
Yeah,
be
the 1840s.
Yeah.
And didn't have much to do with opium.
No, a lot of it didn't. It's the usual story, horrible colonial British and all the rest of it. It was like the Anglo-Chinese War from 1858 to 1861, which eventually was an Anglo-French war against the Chinese. That started off because the Chinese decided to board a British flag ship.
Yeah.
It was initially called the Arrow War because the name of the ship was the Arrow. So.
Yeah, and the Duke of Wellington kind of spoke up over it, didn't he? Because he said that he said it was a huge embarrassment what they did to Britain, and they needed to pay.
Yeah, because you couldn't go around boarding British ships if you were the Chinese in those days.
And a lot of it was that they perceived it was to do with the opium trade, but it was more to do with their own people hoarding silver.
Yeah, there was a lot of other stuff going on in there. Although, interestingly enough, I was watching a video earlier in the week about a statue to Sir Redvers Buller that they want to move in some place in Devon, I think. And I was quite disappointed, partly because my late wife's best friend was a descendant of Buller. And Buller, of course, won his Victoria Cross in the Anglo-Zulu War at the Battle of Schlabahn Mountain, where the British irregular cavalry got cut off on the top of this great big flat-top mountain, which I've been up a few times. And Buller was repeatedly riding back to rescue guys who'd lost their horses, because if you lost your horse, you'd get caught by the Zulus, and the Zulus didn't take any prisoners, so you were dead. So Buller kept riding backwards and forwards, rescuing guys who'd lost their horses, and then taking them further forward and going back for another one, and this kind of stuff. And he got a well-deserved VC for that. But he was actually in the 1860 China War and wouldn't wear his China medal because he didn't agree with the war.
Right.
So I find it quite ironic that you've now got Black Lives Matter people, etc., turning around and saying, "Oh no, we've got to move his statue," because Buller wasn't particularly a big-time imperialist at all, really. I mean, yeah, he was involved in wars in the Empire because you couldn't be a British soldier and not be involved in wars in the Empire, but he didn't always support them.
So why do they want his statue removed then?
I'm trying to remember. I believe the major reason is because LGBTQ people might not like his statue for whatever reason. I have no idea, and why anyone cares what 0.1% of the population thinks anyway, I don't know. But there we go. So
someone made a point the other day. I think it might have been Randy on Twitter, said that you get this issue where. I can't actually remember who it was. You get this issue where like people will watch like a posed or a propagandized, very modernist take on something, and they just take that as Brutus. I sent you a link in Telegram. They just take that as the historical fact on the matter, and they don't realize that they're just taking part in someone else's context or someone else's narrative. I mean, this was what made me read up about the Opium Wars, because people were talking about that today, and they were like, "Oh, the Opium Wars were literally, Britain forcing opium on China, blah 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 blah." And it's like, okay, yeah, but that's not true, and yet you're being led along on this, and you've got all these sorts of half-wits and mid-wits and various other wits taking part in this in this sort of grand crusade against injustice as they see it, and half the time they don't even realize that what they believe about these people is just ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I agree
I mean,
totally.
I was looking up about
Sorry,
Thomas
carry on.
Picton was another one, because we
Yep.
talked about him before, I think. And I was looking up about Picton, and I found some woman who was a historian, like at Oxford, and she was raging about Picton. She's like, "Oh, he kept slaves," and I couldn't find any evidence of that anywhere.
No, nor can I. I've looked at that several times. I mean, what I know about Picton is he was one of the very few British generals who Wellington trusted because he knew his business. So
Yeah.
that's what I know about Picton. I have never read anywhere that he had slaves. I mean, and he certainly wouldn't have had any slaves in Britain because slavery in Britain was illegal by the 1780s at the very latest. There was a court ruling that said that the air of Britain was too free for anyone to be a slave. So you literally could not own a slave in Britain from at least the 1780s, which is to say, as long as America has been an independent nation.
Yeah, and didn't Napoleon also re-legalize slavery? So by fighting as a general in the Napoleonic Wars, he was doing more to end slavery than
you're quite right. Napoleon re-legalized slavery and actually sent an expedition to Haiti to try and retake it for the French. And the only reason they failed really was that the Royal Navy stopped them being reinforced. So, that was British being anti-slavery again, really.
Yeah.
I was just going to say the other thing about Buller, Redvers Buller VC, was that during the Anglo-Zulu War, he was in charge of the local irregular cavalry / mounted infantry forces. And some of those guys were actually black guys from Natal. So some of the guys he commanded in the Anglo-Zulu War were actually black guys, including there was a well-known contingent from the mission in Edendale who were all Christian black guys who fought for the British because they liked them. So, again, the stories that they tell about these people are simply not true.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where the truth doesn't. It's one of those rare instances where the truth doesn't actually win out. You need to get the power over these institutions again to protect, the statues and the history and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you another based thing about Buller was that he hated reporters. He hated newspaper guys. He used to call them blackguard swabs and tell them to get out. And he at least on one occasion threatened to horsewhip a reporter who was trying to get a story for him about some British campaign that he was on. So Buller was pretty based in that regard. He wasn't the world's greatest general. He was people have described Buller as a brilliant major and have an average colonel and a poor general, which is probably pretty fair, to be honest. He was extremely personally brave, but he was very reluctant to get his troops killed. And that, as it often does, tended to have the effect of getting more of them killed in the long run because he wasn't willing to be really forceful when he was in overall command of other people rather than just himself, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Brutus, by the way, I also emailed you the link, so you've definitely got it, mate. And also, Brutus, if you want to invite your mate on, by all means do. The guy who was calling himself Lenny Henry the other day is absolutely welcome to come on if he wants to. I think that's grief or somebody, Alan, if I remember correctly.
Mm.
He was on stream earlier. And I said if he wanted to come on, he was quite welcome to. So Brutus was, Brutus. Buller was not a bad guy in most respects, and certainly not your typical imperialist, really. And the reason he's got that big statue in Devon, I can't remember which town it is now, is because the army sacked him after he lost a battle in Natal against the Boers in the Second Anglo-Boer War, 1899-1902. And he lost a battle at Colenso, which I have to say it was a terrible battle. He hardly engaged, in fact. And he saw a load of British artillery that came under Boer rifle fire because they went too close. And then he watched an Irish brigade of British infantry who were marched up in close column for reasons best known to the commander, and also came under Boer rifle fire and lost a lot of guys. And that kind of made him go, okay, well, I'm going to abandon this battle now. And he did. And that was then followed by the very bloody Battle of Spion Kop, and which was another loss, which he basically let another guy command rather than doing it himself. Then eventually he worked out how you needed to attack these Boer positions, which were like entrenched on higher koppies, which is to say hills. And it was very hard to even spot where the Boer trenches were, etc. And he eventually worked out to do this with a kind of a combination of infantry attacks and artillery support. And he eventually won and broke through and relieved Ladysmith. But by that time, the other British forces in South Africa that he was in overall command of had defeats. And he was sacked, basically, and replaced by General Roberts, who was Kipling's great hero, Bobs. And Roberts quickly won the conventional war by taking the Boer capitals at Bloemfontein and Pretoria, and obviously also Johannesburg, the city of Johannesburg. And he wound up the conventional war, but then, of course, the war dragged on for another 2 years in a guerrilla campaign. So, different story, and not probably the right place to talk about it here, because we don't just do history here. But yeah, Buller was an interesting kind of chap.
Yeah. So
his mother also died. Buller's mother died in his arms when he was about 14 or something at a railway station. She had some sort of stroke, and Buller had to sit there with her for 2 days while she died.
Bloody hell.
He was on holiday from his school, and his mother met him at a railway station. I can't remember the exact story now, 6 years ago that I read it. And he had to sit with her for 2 days in a curtained off part of this railway station while she died when he was about 14, which probably would have had a considerable effect on him, I should imagine.
Yeah. So where was this statue of his as well?
It's in Devon. It's at, I can't remember which town now. Maybe Bruce or somebody, if they're going to come on, can look it up for us. I don't like to look things up while I'm on a stream because it makes a load of noise and distracts people. But if you want to look it up, it's General Sir Redvers Buller VC, and they want to move his statue. I can't remember where I heard it now. It was someone's stream earlier in the week.
I'm just having a quick look.
It's a nice statue, actually. It's a big bronze statue with him on horseback in his general's uniform and what have you.
Oh, it's in Exeter.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So yeah, I mean, one bit of good news. Well, I don't know if it's good news. That's what I was going to kind of bring up. They were talking about the statues around Canterbury Cathedral, and they've now come out and said they won't be removing any, but they will be putting plaques on them, so we know about their dark past.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Excuse my language. I'm just bored with this shit. I really am.
I kind of feel that's still a win, though, as weak of a win as it is.
Well, yeah, I suppose if they don't move them, that's good. But I can't believe that there are people who are absolutely terrible around Canterbury Cathedral somehow. You know, Christian and all that. You know, the Christians and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, man.
It's probably pretty sort of weak source takes.
I'm just sick of this stuff, man. I just don't understand why anyone puts up with it at all. I'm really not. You've got really good guys, you know. Like I was talking in the chat on a stream earlier in the week about Captain Cook, and like Captain Cook started off in coal ships, you know. He joined the Royal Navy not as an officer, and he got promoted he got a commission because he was so good at charting rivers in Canada. During the 7 Years' War, when the Brits were beating the French in Canada and taking Canada over, and some of those charts were in use until very recently because they were so accurate, and that's how he got his commission in the Royal Navy, and then got sent off on all these great voyages of exploration that, you know, found Australia and all this kind of stuff. But of course, you're not allowed to say that now because there were some Aboriginal guys living in some paper bark huts somewhere in Australia. Then obviously it had already been discovered, even though they hadn't built so much as a path.
Oh yeah, that's the point. Hello. Give him a minute. He'll probably come back on unless his internet's gone. All right, chat with chat. Yeah, I take it. I take it you've seen this Times article. We're talking about this Times article where they were talking about where they're basically just mask slipped and just basically said that they ganged up on Trump over this U.S. election. I mean that's kind of it's kind of insane that they think they have the audacity to do that. Oh, you're back.
Yeah, sorry, mate. My microphone disconnected. Ever since I've moved, it happens every so often. My mic will disconnect itself. Don't know really what's causing it, but there we go. Sorry,
There's
you
a
were
bit of a buzzing in the background as well, like a pulsing buzz. Oh. Yeah, I mean, I only read about halfway through, and then I just kind of skimmed through the rest of it. It's pretty long-winded. There is some real sort of mask off moments in there. Like it talks about, oh, doing this for the it's about keeping the election fair, and then the next minute it's like, oh, this guy made everyone on the team aware that Trump was doing well in the polls. It's like, okay, well that shouldn't bother you if it's an actual free and fair election.
Yeah, absolutely true. I agree with that. Sorry, guys. I'm just having a bit of problems with my microphone. The buzzing, by the way, Atom, is an air pump on my fish tank. I can't do much about that.
Oh right. So did you see the Time article?
Mate, I saw of it. I didn't read it, but yes, I saw of it. They're kind of admitting the fact that they fiddle things, aren't they?
Yeah.
I agreed with. I was watching what's his name, the Distributist yesterday on his stream, and he said it's basically they're kind of masturbating about it is what they're doing, and I think that's probably the best description. The left.
I did wonder if maybe they were doing it because they're worried that during this Trump impeachment trial, a lot of this stuff might come out, and that maybe they wanted to get ahead of it by saying it in their own words.
Do you think there'll be a Trump impeachment trial?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. I'm still doubtful that they'll ever actually go to court.
The thing is, there's going to be a load of Republicans that are going to stab Trump in the back, aren't they?
Maybe. Yeah, quite possibly, I suppose. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure what the Democrats, for example, would win by taking it to court. And it seems to me that they would have quite a lot to lose if things went badly for them for one reason or another.
Well, I thought that at first as well, but now, like, almost 2/3 of Republicans have come out and said that they would support a Trump party, like a Trump third party.
Oh right, yeah.
So now it's kind of at the point where they kind of have to put him down almost.
I don't know. I mean, look, what Trump's what? Is he 76? I think 76 years old. I don't know. I mean, it was like when people were talking about Trump running in 2024. I mean, he's going to be 80 then. I just don't see him wishing to do this stuff. I mean, like, he's a rich guy. There's no reason for him not to have a very, very easy retirement. Why on earth should he do all this stuff? I don't see the purpose to it. I mean, it's like he never took his salary when he was the president.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, it's kind of a funny dichotomy, but in America, if you only get one term as president, you're considered some sort of failure.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, in many respects, I think he was, but I mean, I also think he was he had virtually the whole of the U.S. civil service and what Moltmann calls the cathedral in inverted commas. He had all those guys against him, so I think he had a bit of an excuse for his failure. Although I suspect he spent a bit too much time fistballing about on Twitter and not ensuring that Twitter couldn't cancel people. So, you know.
Yeah. I mean, can you even make a robustly right-wing press? Is that even possible?
Yeah, well, I mean, look at the UK. The
Mm.
newspapers that I considered right wing when I was a young chap, like the Telegraph and the Times, even are not right wing anymore, in my opinion.
Mm. I mean, the Daily Mail occasionally will hold the line.
Yeah, but then on other issues they'll go full on a social liberal, you know. So
Yeah, and just for the simple fact that they won't cave on everything, the very term Daily Mail reader is considered like an insult, you know, pejorative amongst like metropolitan lovies and stuff like that.
yeah, but then you know you've also got to look at. Hello, Bruce. You've
Hello,
also got
mate.
to you've also got to look at, you know, the Mail does all this shit with like scantily clad female celebrities and all this kind of crap as well. And I say celebrities very loosely, you know, someone who's on a reality TV show or something like that.
Yeah, it's the only paper with an actual with a 50-50 split of male to female readers, which
Is
I always
it?
found kind of peculiar. Yeah.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, I remember back in the day, you know, when I say back in the day, like 1980s, for example, even the bloody Sun was a right-wing newspaper, really, you know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But I think it's very difficult to have a right-wing press. I mean, in America, if you look at TV, for example, even Fox let Trump down badly when it really came to it.
Yeah.
I mean, only Tucker Carlson was like pretty reasonable, I thought. And then you look at like Sky, and Sky News in Australia is actually pretty right wing, but it sure isn't in the UK.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you look at like Henry Ford, right? Henry Ford had a famous newspaper back in the day,
Yep.
and that got crushed. Like not long after he died, I don't think.
Well, yeah.
As soon as he couldn't keep bankrolling anymore, they just squashed that.
But I mean, if you're going to have like a newspaper or TV station, then inevitably all of the graduates that you take on have come through that university schooling and then university system, which is basically left-wing social liberal propaganda, globo homo propaganda. So you know you've got to contend against that as well. Brutus, what you got to say, mate?
I don't know, mate. What are we talking about? What's going on?
Adam was just talking about the way that in Time magazine, the left in America have pretty much admitted how they fiddled the election and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's like a 7,000 word essay, isn't it? I haven't read it yet. Can you read it for free online, or do you have to subscribe?
I think you can read it for free.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, they're just kind of, you know, waving it in your face, aren't they? Basically, they're just laughing at you, laughing at all of us.
They're they're masturbating, Bruce, is what they're doing. They're just masturbating. Look what we did, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess 60 all over again.
I guess there's so much historical evidence that the election was stolen that they're going to kind of have to deal with the question at some point. So maybe they're just building up to some kind of admittance at some point. I don't know. I really don't know what they're doing, actually, to be honest with you. But there you go. It doesn't really matter. I mean, they can do whatever they want because America is a one party nation now, and that's kind of that.
Yeah, fair enough. Brutus, by the way, if your mate Lenny Henry Grief, whatever he's called, wants to come on, he's more than welcome if you want to pass him the link.
Yeah, I don't know where he is. I don't know. Yeah.
I as always, I invited Ataman, but maybe he's busy. I have no idea.
Ataman, Sojo.
Sorry, I meant Sojo. I beg your pardon, Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah, we earlier, Brutus, we were talking about Exeter in Devon wants to move a really lovely equestrian statue of Sir Edward Bulwer VC.
Yeah, I don't know who he is.
He was a British general in the Victorian era. He fought all over the British Empire, like literally everywhere. He won his Victoria Cross in the Anglo-Zulu War, rescuing soldiers whose horses had been shot when the Zulus were advancing on them. He'd go back and pick them up, take them forward, then go back and get another guy, but up behind him on the horse, you know. And it was a damn well-deserved VC, actually. But he also was in charge of black African soldiers on the British side, which, of course, none of these people who want to move his statue care to mention.
Yeah. And anyway, it's absurd. I mean, obviously we shouldn't tear down your history. I mean, I even I don't know how do you feel about the grave of Karl Marx? Well, I remember talking about this on a show and asking people in the chat, and I wouldn't move his grave because I know he's Jewish, but I don't know. He's part of English culture, you know. I
wouldn't move it. I wouldn't move his grave. I'd spit on it, but I wouldn't move it.
Yeah,
I'd certainly spit. Not for being Jewish, by the way, just for the communist stuff, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of like you got to embrace your history, warts and all, I think, and learn from your history. And if these people that we're dealing with, I mean, obviously they're wrong about what it is they think, but if they were wise, they would keep the statues up just to remind themselves about what happened in the past. But they're so shallow and they're so weak. They just want to burn everything down. So there you go.
Yeah, I think that that divorcing people from their history, as in 1984, you know, Orwell's novel, when you change history and divorce history, that kind of makes people lose that connection to their past and their ancestors, and I think that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
You know, you could walk around most of the country towns and the bigger cities in the UK and see famous people from that place, you know, and they'd be all sorts of people. They'd be generals and admirals, but they'd also be industrialists and inventors and people like Wilberforce, who actually did more to end the slave trade than any other human in history. There'd be that great cross section of great British people, and like, you know, get rid of them. Yeah, get rid of them. So modern Brits have no understanding of what their history really is and what a great country Britain really is.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even get taught it in school. You know, nobody knows nothing. So there you go. I was talking to one guy at work about Alfred the Great. Didn't even know who he is.
You're kidding? You're kidding?
Yeah. He's a good guy as well. He's a good guy. Good, solid bloke. Wants to kick all the foreigners out, but just never learnt it at school. And there you go.
I actually had a Labour guy come around my house before the last election, and we were talking about we brought up colonial history, and he was talking about it, and I said, what about like Alfred the Great? And he's like, I don't know who that is.
Oh jeez. Oh jeez. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit awful, isn't it?
Well, that's the thing, though. They have an actual section I don't know if any of you've seen the new history curriculum in the GCSEs, but they have an actual section on the Black Trumpeter in Henry VIII's court.
Oh,
there's
God.
A 300-year gap from 1066 that they just don't cover at all.
Oh God. Yeah. Well, they've got to skip out Edward Longshanks, haven't they?
Yeah.
Don't want to talk about that guy.
Well, listen, this is a good point to just give a reminder, mainly to Ataman and Bruce, but also to the viewers, that on Wednesday, probably, unless anyone really can't do it, I'd like to do that second Great Brits thing where me, Adam and Brutus and Sojo and maybe a couple of other people come up with their own 5 Brits that they really admire, give a little synopsis about them, and then we can all talk about them. And that'll probably be Wednesday evening, unless that doesn't suit anyone.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah. I don't know. It really sucks for me in the week, actually, to be honest with you. But because I'm always half asleep. But maybe I'll turn up.
Yeah. Just
Maybe
come
I'll-
up with 5 Brits you particularly admire. They don't have to be famous, just ones that you admire, and they have to be dead, not people who are around today. That's the only thing. And I just thought, given we were talking about they don't teach this stuff in schools, then that's certainly something I'd like to do on this channel, is that we'll give people some ideas of British history.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. 30 people watching. So what do you think about Thomas Malthus then? I'll just segue into that. Do you think he was a great Brit or not? Hero, yay or nay? Yay or nay for Thomas Malthus? I'm actually a little bit 50-50 on it, to be honest with you. Yeah, go on, Atman. What's Atman
No,
think?
I have no idea.
All right, I'm going to say then, if you got no opinion on it, I would say, yeah, 50-50. I think he is right, but he wasn't right when he wrote that stuff.
Right.
And he wouldn't be right just now. Like in 100 years, 200 years, maybe, but he's not now.
But we are kind of full, aren't we?
Well, Britain is, yes, but
Right.
the world, not so much.
Yeah. I mean, it's just interesting, like, because obviously I was talking about it this morning, but like James Corbett, he's pushing back on the whole overpopulation thing. I mean, anybody who does push back on it, they're always doing it from a very globalist point of view and not a nationalist point of view.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, yeah, there's a lot of empty room in Africa, but that's not they aren't our countries anymore, unfortunately. There's not
there's a lot of empty room in Australia, but most of it is desert or semi-desert that couldn't sustain many people anyway.
So, like, I don't know much about the Malthusian argument at all. So, does he argue from a materialistic perspective only, or does he cover other stuff as well?
Well, I don't know much about it. I mean, I think it's just
it's mainly, yeah. There's just there's limited resources in the world, and eventually there'll be too many humans for all those resources. That's how I understand Malthusian arguments. Britain is definitely overcrowded now. Yeah, I mean, I think like a realistic British population is probably like 45, 50 million, something like that.
Yeah, but it's not really overcrowded in a sort of material sense. Like, no one's lacking for want. Like, we still grow a huge amount of food and stuff like that. The problem here is that it's detrimental in other ways.
Yeah,
like people's psychology.
I mean, also, you can argue like Japan is overcrowded. I mean, Japan is not that much bigger than Britain in terms of land area, but they've got like twice our population, at least. But then, of course, Japan doesn't do mass fur-borne immigration, and Britain does. So Japan's population is not like expanding much more than it would do because of mass immigration. Like, I remember the whole time I was a kid, from when I was old enough to note this, the UK population was 56 million. Like, was the earliest I remember it, and I would have been about 8 or 9 then. Yeah, so that would have been in the 1970s. Yeah. And the UK population was 56 million. And for years and years after that, it didn't go above 58 million. And now it's supposedly like 65 million or so because there's been so much more mass immigration. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if Malthus was talking about this country or he was talking about India. Because apparently
he was talking about the world, wasn't he, generally?
Right. Because, I mean, part of me thinks maybe he was just like, we need to get rid of some Indians or something like that. So I don't know. I
kind of agreed what you said on your stream earlier, Bruce. I think you like eventually he's going to be right.
Right. Yeah.
If the population of the world just keeps growing, yeah, sure, eventually he's going to be right. But I think we're some way off that yet.
Yeah. I think from a nationalist point of view, though, really, from a nationalist point of view, you shouldn't look at it as a global problem. You should just look at it as, So I'm just getting distracted by the chat. But you should just look at it as like, your country and your people should have as many kids as you can, and you should just like conquer all the other people and push them away, and that's the solution to the population problem, if you know what I mean. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that at all. I just think, eventually the world's going to get overcrowded, but who knows? That's going to be like in 100 years or more,
Yeah.
Probably even 200 years. Britain is already overcrowded. A few other places like Japan's overcrowded, China's overcrowded, India's overcrowded, Africa's getting overcrowded.
Can I just sorry, go on. Yeah.
No, carry on, mate. Carry on.
No, I just want to answer the chat. I'm very flattered that people are reading my book. So there you go. Thank you, Top Cat.
I didn't even know you'd written the book, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. End of 2018, beginning of 2019, I think.
I've written loads of articles, but they're all on military or naval history, and you wouldn't be able to do a very interesting stream on them unless you were interested in military and naval history. So,
yeah. Well, there you go. Well, it's a bit of a messy, chaotic. Anyway, it's my first one, so bit of a mess. But there's a lot of interesting
I don't care, mate. I mean, I don't agree totally with everybody. You say loads of stuff. You say loads of stuff I don't agree with. So Adaman and Sojo say things I don't agree with. I'm sure I say things that you guys don't agree with. If we all had to be carbon copies of each other, then it would be quite boring. So
it's just funny though reading it. I mean, by Top Cat, if you want to send me a message, you can. It's like you don't have to go and read my book. I'm just sitting on Telegram. You could just write to me and just say hi if you want. But anyway, there you go.
So yeah, definitely.
I don't know what he said, so I can't respond really. But there you go.
Well, you should probably be flattered if people are actually like reading your book online. I mean,
No, I am. It's kind of funny. It's kind of cringe, kind of funny. I mean, unfortunately, the plan's not worked. I mean, the whole plan was that we got to get a president elected in 2024, and that was the point I was making, that we have to get organized and get it done. But I didn't foresee COVID, and I didn't foresee them stealing the election in such a brash, open way. But there you go.
2024, something else might happen in the next 4 years. Who knows?
Well, I figured we'd have Trump in power for 8 years, and that would give us a chance to organize. Yeah. I mean, I was writing that back in 2018, so things were still kind of high energy back then, and it still looked like there were some possibilities. But I mean, mostly it was just in reaction to the alt-right just turning against Paul Neeland, because I figured that he was the natural conclusion of that political movement, because everyone was saying we got to make something of this. We got to go in real life. We got to, we can't just sit on the internet talking to each other. And it's like, well, this politician appears and he's talking about the JQ, and he's talking about white identity, and he's trying to get elected, and they all just stabbed him in the back. They all turned against him and said it's bad optics and blah, blah, blah. And they did the same thing to Patrick Little. And I'm just scratching my head going like, what the hell is going on here? These these internet spokes, they don't want to get anything done. They don't,
I don't know. I tend to agree with Colin Liddell that, the alt-right lost its way when Spencer really took it over. And it just got totally taken over by Nazi LARPing Spurgs, basically.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can see that now. Obviously, I wrote the book before the whole Bulldog nationalist thing. But still, whatever the case, they failed to support the people that were trying to get elected. That's the bottom line. And it just seemed to me to be a great betrayal. Whether you're Nazi or not, I mean, it's just a great betrayal. It's like if one of your guys is going to stand up and try to seize power, you should rally behind them, and they didn't. So it was kind of written in reaction to that. And, don't know.
Well,
That's
no,
it.
no. Look, the thing I like about this podcast, if you like, is the fact that all of us have slightly different views, you know. And if we all had exactly the same views and agreed absolutely down the line on everything, it'd be tedious as fuck.
Yeah.
Don't you think, Armin?
Yeah, everyone's talking in chat about how scary it would be if Britain did have population density like India.
But we do. I mean, there are parts of England that are as densely populated as parts of India. That is a true story. England in particular is very, very overcrowded in places.
Yeah, I mean, like I live out in the sticks, and I hate the city. I couldn't imagine living there. And I mean, they're building where I live now as well. And I was walking up one part in this new housing estate, and there's all that's left. There used to be a big woodland all along there, and all that's left now is there's a little strip, and on one side of the strip, you've got a little path that goes through the middle, like a curated little space for you to run in, like a hamster wheel. And like 30 feet to your right is a big busy main road, so you've just got all the trucks and lorries in one ear, and then 30 feet to the left is people's houses.
Yeah.
And I just hated it walking through there. I just thought it was such an awful little space.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, I've just moved, and I'm still in Greater Melbourne, but I can walk to where there are cows and horses and wallabies and loads of wild birds. And that just makes such a difference to me, is the fact that I can actually take my little dog and go for a wander. And I just like seeing these animals and farms and shit, you know. It just makes such a difference to your outlook on life.
Yeah, and like people talk about there being no political solution, and I think some people, even me, don't realise how true that is. Because like I was on a while ago, I was on a board for housing planning, like one of these local ones, and I just turned down everything. That's all I was there for.
Makes sense.
I was like, no more well wishers or distant relations. Just turned down absolutely everything, and they kicked me off. In the end, they turn around. They're like, oh no, this is for local people to have their say. And what I was doing was broadly popular, but they still kicked me off.
Yeah.
How did they kick you off?
Have your say, but don't change anything. Yeah, that sounds.
How did they?
Well, it was just by appointment, so they can just take your appointment away.
Oh.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. It's no political solution. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hate to say that.
Yeah.
I don't know. The only thing I can say at the moment is, at the next election, people have got to stop voting Conservative. They've got to stop voting Labour. They've got to stop voting Lib Dems, and they've got to stop voting for the Watermelon Greens. Basically, vote for anyone else. Anyone except those four parties.
I will say, because I used to say this a lot, and I still do actually believe that. But I was also looking at this Portuguese general election recently, and the voter turnout in the Portuguese election has been going down by about 9.5% every election, and it's down to like less than 40% now. Like less than 40% of eligible voters actually turn out to even bother voting, and yet still the Social Democrats, like the centre left party, or just like their version of Labour, still have this mandate, and they still go around and do what they want, and it doesn't seem to make it any difference. That literally it's a party no one even bothers voting for.
Well, up until, what was it, 1976 or something like that, Portugal had a more or less right-wing semi-dictatorship. And then they had a military coup that was a left-wing military coup. And they abandoned their empire. Like they had Angola and Mozambique in Africa, and also Portuguese Guinea, and they had Timor in the Far East and Macau in China. And they pretty much abandoned all of that shit. I knew some Portuguese soldiers when I was in South Africa. One of my mates was a Portuguese guy who had fought for Portugal in the war in Mozambique, and then he joined the Rhodesian army and he fought for the Rhodesians, And when I knew him, he was fighting for South Africa, and he was a complete and utter madman. Like, he'd just done it for too long. He was a nutcase. He had this souped-up VW, which had an engine which was about twice too big for it in the car. And I was honestly more scared going in his car than I was being under fire by Swapo or something like that. And he did eventually kill himself, like in a car crash, which I knew he was kind of trying to do it, which is one reason I didn't much like going in his car. But he had this great place overlooking the Black Umfolozi River, and very near Umfolozi Shishlui Game Reserves. And he used to get ground hornbills there, which are these great big massive black birds. They're about 4 foot high with big red wattles, and they're a hornbill, but one that walks around the ground and eats snakes and stuff like this. And I used to sit on the stove on the veranda of this place and watch these things when I went to stay with him. But yeah, so Portugal has had this history that, like, they were based for a long, long time, and then they got a left-wing military coup. God knows why they got a left-wing military coup, because they didn't really do Portugal any good as far as I can work out. But there we go. Portugal is also Britain's oldest ally, incidentally.
Yeah, I thought you mentioned that. Yeah, apparently our oldest naval ally. So I think we've got like 100 or 200-year-old alliance with them or something.
Yeah, they didn't like the Spanish either.
Yeah. There you go.
But yeah, Portugal is actually Britain's oldest ally by quite a long way, actually.
They were neutral in the Second World War as well, weren't they?
Well, yeah, they were, but they were like, even though Al-Azhar, I think his name was, the Portuguese guy who was in charge for like getting on for 40 years, even though he was not unsympathetic to
Adolf.
No, not really Adolf. More Mussolini, to be honest. Not really, because the National Socialists were a bit different to the fascists, which even a lot of Nazi laughers don't understand. But he was a bit sympathetic to Mussolini for sure. But eventually, like actually quite early on, long before Franco, for example, he became more pro-Allied, partly because of that traditional alliance with Britain.
Yeah.
And that's why he stayed in power to the 1970s. You know,
it must have been a supporter of Franco as well.
He kind of was, but Portugal don't really like Spain. You know, they're pretty much big country, small country next to them story. You know.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So it's a bit like England and Scotland, or more England than Britain and Ireland. Or the US and Canada, or Australia and New Zealand. It's that kind of thing. The little country tends not to like the bigger country.
Yeah, it would make more sense for them to just be one like country, to be honest with you. Geographically.
Not if you're a Portuguese, it wouldn't, let me assure you. And
a couple of generations they'd bring in.
No, going by my mate, Portuguese are pretty good soldiers. Like, at the time, originally, this is what happened. It was kind of this domino theory in South Africa. Up until the 1974 or something, the south of Africa was pretty much white run, because you had South Africa, you had Rhodesia, of course, and then you had Mozambique and Angola, yeah, and they were all white run nations. After the Portuguese military coup, when the Portuguese just abandoned their colonies, basically, that meant that Rhodesia was then outflanked, and instead of only having one border to defend from the Black African communists, they had 3. And then eventually, when things got too difficult, the South Africans shat on the Rhodesians. And thought that, okay, well, that will make us better with the Black African countries. And of course, in the long term, it didn't. So, and Portugal is definitely a different country to Spain. And the language is different too. Like, Portuguese isn't particularly like Spanish.
Sim. Eu falo português. Você fala?
I have no idea, man. I can't speak Portuguese at all. But I do know it's not the same language as Spanish, because I've had Portuguese guys tell me it's not.
Yeah.
And the Portuguese guys don't like the Spanish all that much, as far as I can work out. And also, of course, under Wellington, under the Duke of Wellington in Spain during the Peninsular War, about a quarter of Wellington's forces were Portuguese guys, often with British Army officers in charge of them, and they did extremely well against Napoleon soldiers.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because it's kind of like the opposite situation in South America, where Brazil is the dominant country, and all the Spanish-speaking countries are like, the small ones. So there you go.
Well, I don't know. Are they though? I mean, hasn't there always been some sort of rivalry between, say, Argentina and Brazil in that regard? Because I know Brazil's a Portuguese-speaking country, obviously.
Yeah. They've had several wars. There's a rivalry there, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, Brazil could crush Bolivia if it wanted to, or Colombia, or I don't know, any of those countries if it wanted to. So it is the dominant player.
I know Brazil purchased the ex-Royal Navy commando carrier HMS Ocean recently, although I don't think the Brits should have sold it. So they've got a carrier that can operate helicopters. Certainly, I don't know if it can operate. It could certainly operate Harriers or something like that if it wanted to. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, nice country, Brazil. Miss that. Yeah, nice, beautiful country.
Well, if you're ever allowed to travel again with the China virus lockdowns, perhaps you can go back for a visit sometime.
Yeah, I'd like to actually. Really nice people. There you go. I just remember very clearly when I went to Brazil. I just it was like I went to Brazil from India, so I got on the plane from India to London, and I'm on this plane with all these Indians, and it's all kind of dark and murky, and then I got to England, and it was London, and it's all multicultural, and everybody's miserable. And then I got on the plane to go to Brazil, and I'm sitting on the plane, and all the Brazilians come in, and they were like glowing, just like they just seemed like really, really happy people, and that was kind of like my first impression of Brazil, and. Yeah, I think it's very true. They're just I think it's because they're Catholic and they believe in God, basically.
Was there a reason you went to Brazil in particular, Bruce?
Met a bunch of South Americans and Brazilians in India.
Oh, okay. Nice. So you'd met people there, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, they look like nice people, and I'd never been to that part of the world before, and I thought, yeah, fuck it, let's go.
Did you ever go to any of the Amazon jungle and that kind of stuff, or did you mainly do the cities
Rio.
And so on? Yeah, okay.
Just Rio and Sao Paulo. Sao Paulo sucks, big metropolis. Rio's absolutely stunning, absolutely drop dead stunning from a physical point of view.
Yeah. Did you go up to that statue of Jesus and all that kind of stuff there?
Christos, yeah, did that.
Yeah.
Christos, Pomme de Souk. Yeah, Copacabana, Ipanema.
Yeah, no, I've always wanted to go and visit the Amazon stuff. I have to say, partly because I keep tropical fish, and the tropical fish I keep are freshwater stuff. And these days, I only keep fish that live in South America, pretty much. So,
you keep fish? Do you? Oh,
I keep tropical fish. I got my noisy little dog who hasn't made his usual appearance yet, because he's asleep next to me on another chair. And I've also got some little zebrafinch birds as well in a big kind of aviary thing. So,
oh, that's nice. Yeah,
I've always had loads of animals. Always.
Yeah, I wish I had some pets. Do you have to pick up the dog poo in Australia? You do. I fucking hate that.
Why? I just use a plastic bag.
Oh,
but of course, the dog looks at you and thinks, "Well, you're supposed to be in charge, but you're picking up my poo." So
Yeah. It's no, it's horrible. I think they just brought that law in to stop people having dogs. I think.
Well, it didn't stop me. It didn't stop me having a dog, and it won't.
Stops me. I wouldn't want to pick up dog poo. Jesus Christ.
Brutus, we got Grief in the chat. Isn't that Lenny Henry or whatever he was calling himself earlier?
Yeah, yeah. I sent him a link. You can.
So, Grief, if you want to come on, man, you're perfectly welcome, and we can talk about aquariums if you like. Adamant, what's your favourite places that you've been other than the UK?
I also invited Susie on, but she's scared. She doesn't know she's invited.
Oh, Susie, you are more than welcome to come on. I would like to get more women following this podcast that we do every week. So yeah, please come on. If you got the link from Brutus, you're more than welcome. Adamant, where are you places in the world you've been that you liked apart from the UK?
I really like Slovenia actually.
Oh,
I
cool.
went there kind of on an off chance. I was supposed to be riding on my motorbike to Greece and back.
Cool.
And I couldn't get the amount of time off I wanted, so I ended up just packing my bike up and going and just seeing where I ended up. And I've always liked Germany. Went through there, spent a bit of time there, and then through Austria into Slovenia. Went around Lake Bled, went around the Triglav National Park, and some other places. And it was really nice. I really liked it a lot, actually. Really,
Cool.
really underrated country.
Slovenia, sorry. Ah, right, yeah. Isn't that where
Slovakia as well, though? So
isn't that where Melania's from?
She might be. I can't remember which one of the two she's from, actually.
I think it's Slovenia. Yeah. Yep. So there you go.
Living Man, Not Dead Fiction in the chat. We don't believe in. Well, I'm sorry. Let me change that. I don't believe in token women. If Susie comes on, she comes on as Susie, not as a token woman. Okay. So that's fine. Adamant, what sort of motorbike did you have, mate?
I had a Kawasaki ZZR 1400.
Cool.
And right before
Nice.
that, I had a Harley Davidson Fat Boy.
Well, that's all right. That's nice.
You had a Harley. Oh, jeez,
Yeah.
wow. Do you have a leather jacket then?
Yeah, yep.
Good idea. It's a good idea to have a leather jacket if you've got a motorbike, Bruce. I can tell you, mate.
Well, you know, but they don't always wear leather jackets, do they? They wear different. It's not always leather, is it?
Oh yeah, but all the ones I've had are all proper leather.
Oh, okay. Right.
I've had 3 motorbikes, Bruce, and I got the scars to prove it, mate.
Oh, jeez. I feel like I'm
Harley
missing out
Davidson's
now.
a lot of fun. I think it would probably fit in somewhere like Australia better, but in Britain it kind of sticks out for all the wrong reasons.
I tell you what, I in South Africa, I would sometimes ride my motorbike. I had this 600cc Suzuki, and I used to ride my motorbike in a t-shirt and a pair of shorts. And if you ever make a mistake and come off, as I did once or twice, and I'm not saying there was any alcohol involved in that, you get some nice scars, man.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, dear. That was fun.
No, I couldn't do it. Oh, no way. Throw it in my car, because I drive like a lunatic anyway.
Yeah.
Can't imagine what I'd do on a bike. It does. I think it does sound like riding a motorbike in Australia would be more fun than riding it down here, though, because it's just up here. Sorry, because it's just too wet.
Not in the summer.
Oh, I don't know. It's a bit wet and cold. And...
No. Come on, Bruce. Unless the climate change guys are right, and I'm damn sure they're not. The Britain sometimes has beautiful hot summer days.
Yeah.
I was talking to Colin Liddell a while ago, who's is a Scotsman, and like in a private conversation that was not online. And I was saying I was up in the Summer Isles, which is like up on the extreme west coast of Scotland, and I was living in Stirling at the time, and I had a great holiday up there, and it was like so hot for weeks and weeks that every day was like cold beer and ice cream with it. And I was going all around the Summer Islands, and it was like you were in the Caribbean. I'd been to the Caribbean, because the water was so cool and all the rest of it. It was really good. Hello, Grief. Glad to have you on, mate.
Grief. Turn your video off, Grief.
No, he needs to turn his microphone on.
Oh, he's got.
His microphone's muted.
He's also got to turn his video off, otherwise he's going to dox himself.
Oh, okay, cool. Fair enough. There you go.
Groove.
Oh,
You know
and
what I
then
mean?
up. And then unmute. Is that right? It's been a while.
Yeah. You all right, mate?
Oh.
How's it going?
Yeah, very well. Hello. All right, Duke. Thanks for having me on, pal. Hello, Brutus and Ataman and chat.
You're,
all right.
you're most welcome, mate. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much. Yeah. No, I was listening in. Very enjoyable. Carry on. It's a bit highbrow for me. That's why I was hesitant. And I've had a few beers, obviously, but I must admit I don't know much about the army, but I like hearing about it. Yeah.
Hey, Grief, highbrow. We're just talking about riding motorcycles.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can't drive either, so.
We're talking about pets, so you could talk about your cat if you want.
Yeah, we
yeah.
were also talking about those. You said you like fish, didn't you?
No, I just always wanted an aquarium. And as you mentioned it, yeah. Have you seen those ones where they're not strictly an aquarium? You just put the right plants in there that can oxygenate the water and keep it perfectly crystal clear. But so you don't need a light, you don't need a filter, and then people leave them for like 25, 50 years, and they become like this whole ecosystem unto itself. You know, they're quite impressive. Yeah, I don't know what they're called. Have you seen them?
I have seen those things. I think they're really difficult to do, to be honest.
Yeah, they're pretty tricky. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've kept fish since I was, crikey. I was probably about 11 when my old man got me a fish tank. I think, Grief, you probably need to use some headphones, mate, because it's echoing.
Well, I have got the headphones in. Look, I'll mute myself and have a look at the settings. It's been a very long time since I used StreamYard.
You're not echoing for me.
Oh, really?
Or maybe it's just a tiny little bit. No, it's
Actually, you're echoing too, Bruce. Now I'm not sure why.
Oh, maybe it's you then, Duke.
Yeah,
I've got.
Yeah, it might be me.
What do you do? You just mute YouTube and then and that's it, isn't it?
Oh, he's gone. We've hijacked his show.
He's having trouble at the moment with his PC. He'll be back on in a sec.
Yeah, it was buzzing a bit, going in the background.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, your stream was good earlier, Brutus. I'm enjoying them ones. They're good.
Yeah, thank you.
A bit of like absolute doom and gloom on a Saturday morning is fantastic.
Yeah, it is pretty bad now, isn't it? The whole lockdown thing. It's like it's a little bit scary.
It's crazy, yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, listen, I as you know, I've been out the loop for a very long time. I don't really know what to say about it all, but the main thing I'd say is that there's so many bloody narratives sort of washing around at the minute that you just don't know what to do. I feel absolutely impotent as a nationalist, as a conspiracy theorist, as just like. I just feel completely and utterly impotent, confused, deeply confused, you know? So white replacement was one thing, and now there's all this. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know how anyone's coping or keeping a consistent kind of train of thought in times like these, you know?
You just got to get comfy, mate.
Just get comfy. Yeah, maybe.
You've got to snuggle up and just watch it all happen and just kind of detach yourself from it, I suppose.
Yeah. Is that a form of accelerationism or not? I don't know.
It's just a way of coping. It's
just a coping mechanism. All right, let's not beat about the bush.
Yeah, it's just like pretend you're watching a movie, like a horror movie, and disassociate yourself from it, I suppose.
Mum's fairly red pill, so she rings me up every now and then, doesn't she? She's like, "What's going on? Like, tell me, what does it mean? What's Paul saying?" Like that. So even when I try and disengage, I've got my old dear on the phone going, "What's happening?" Like that. Give me the latest. So it's quite annoying actually.
You still on Britpol?
Yeah. Nah, Britpol's terrible in a way. Like they're a very weird bunch. Do you go on there quite regularly, do you?
No, I just lurk. I don't really go on Britpol. I go on 4chan and just.
Yeah, I go on Pol, but not Britpol. Those guys are strange. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were on it all the time.
No, not really. They just post. Last time I was on it, like I don't know, consistently for a while. I can't remember what the occasion was, but all they seem to do is post pictures of like Ash Sakar's feet. and have and Preeti Patel's rather thick waist. That's all they seem to do. They don't actually discuss any politics.
No,
it's the most like black-pilled environment you could possibly attach yourself to, in my opinion. It is a bit of a laugh. The memes are good. You know, the original Wojaks, they're good. But apart from that, God, stay away. Like, yeah.
North FC's good. They keep posting that picture of that girl with the can of Stella in between her thighs as well. You seen that one?
Oh, she's gorgeous, isn't she? Yeah, I like her a lot. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I don't want to derail.
When you say she's gorgeous, I take it you're being facetious, right?
No, she's really nice.
She's really nice, and I drink a rather large amount of Stella. So you know, it's just it's perfect.
It's just to be the cheap beer you drink if you really wanted to get drunk. When I was younger,
I don't know if it's cheap, but it does get you pissed.
What's that? Say again, Stella.
Stella used to be like quite strong, so you'd get that if you could only buy a couple of cans and you wanted to get drunk, and you'd take it with something else.
Well, I don't know. I think it's always been considered a fairly sort of posh beer, but it's got a weird association with like wife beating, like domestic abuse. I don't really know where that comes from, but I think that's probably because it is, as far as lagers go, it's strong. But then now you've got all this craft beer, haven't you? And some of those are like 9-10%, and they taste a bit fruity. But you can drink just as, you know. I mean, if anything's going to make you violent, it's like craft beer, I think. But yeah, no, Stella's no good. It's from Belgium. And it's full of chemicals, apparently. The bloke I work for is from Belgium, and he said, don't drink it, try something else, you know?
Yeah, there's some different drinks do make you angry. I find drinking Monster makes me really angry.
Oh, don't drink those, man. God.
Yeah, no, it just puts me in a rage. If I'm driving home and I have a can of Monster, I get home and I'm just like, I'm ready for the race war. You know, it's awful.
Right, yeah.
brandy, guys. If I try not to drink brandy because if I'm going to get in a fight, I'll have been drinking brandy.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
The only thing I really know about Monster, and it's I never drank it anyway because I always saw it as a bit of a sort of gimmick. You know, I associated with like hardcore gaming. You know, like that identity nowadays where you can actually be a gamer. It's like who are you? And it's like, well, I'm a gamer. And it's like, oh, Jesus Christ, you know. But yeah, I always associated that energy drinks with that in a way. And I remember I was on some course that the flipping job centre put me on, all right? And some bloke was explaining that he'd had his stomach lining surgically kind of like either removed or reinforced. I can't remember which, but it was something quite drastic to do with his stomach lining, all right? And I said, well, what's all that about then? Like, how did that happen? He goes, well, I was just drinking like 9 Monsters a day, all right? And but as he was explaining where his life-changing injury had come from, what was he doing? He was pulling a can of Monster out of his rucksack, and as he finished the story, he just cracked it open and just necked it, and I was like, what, you know, like, what reality is this? This is insane, you know. But yeah, this is the world we live, gents. Like, he'd had his stomach lining, even like something major surgery done to it, but he was still on a good old Monster, you know.
Yeah,
sip, you know. Yeah.
Some people are crazy.
I'm just puzzled who would describe themselves as a gamer.
I'm a gamer.
Well, a lot.
Gamers rise up.
Gamers rise. I think we're all gamers at heart. Yeah. I don't know.
Look, if someone asks me who I am, I'll first of all tell them I'm an Englishman. Then I'll say I'm a Brit. Then I'll say I'm a former soldier.
Well, there you go.
That's about as far as it goes.
I'm also a soldier, gaming soldier.
Sam Hyde has got some really good skits on like gaming, you know. If you type in like Sam Hyde game, I do. That's a good video. That's a good one.
Yeah, he's a funny lad.
But Bolero 393 in the chat. Bombay Sapphire with tonic. Yep, like that.
Is that gin?
That's
gin, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
nice.
My favourite gin is actually Plymouth Navy gin, which my boy who's serving in the Royal Navy, he went on my birthday and Christmas. He either sends me one of those or he sends me Pusser's rum.
I've had the Plymouth thing. That's quite strong stuff, isn't it? It's dry as assholes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
what
Yeah.
the Royal Navy drink in the wardroom.
Yeah.
And the Pusser's rum is what the Royal Navy sailors used to drink back in the day when there was a rum ration.
Yeah.
I don't really.
No,
The only
like a bit of
spirit I
gin.
really like is Bailey's. To be honest.
Is that considered a spirit though? That's more of a milky milkshake, isn't it? With a
Yeah,
little-
no, it is. That's why I like it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I don't know whether that would be considered a spirit, but it is lush. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
it's a bit girly, Bruce, to be honest with you, Bailey.
Yeah, I know. It's great. I love it. Don't
I
care.
like Bailey's.
Yeah, no, it's a strong look. The man who wants to take over the world by force, he loves a little bit of Bailey's, watered down. Yeah,
No, you don't want because it tastes like ice cream, so you just glug the whole thing down before you know it.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet
Meanwhile,
it's nice.
meanwhile, Susie in the chat, who I'd like to come on, likes Plymouth gin.
I think Bailey's in Guinness would probably be a good idea. I haven't tried it. I've seen it been done, so it's probably a thing. But yeah,
I don't know about that.
well, because Guinness doesn't taste overly alcohol-y, does it? It's not like a lager, so like just a small amount of sugar would turn it into a pudding instantly, wouldn't it? You know?
My mum puts Bailey's in her coffee.
Yeah, nice.
So,
What, at work?
No, just in the evening, Bailey's and coffee. Or at Christmas.
Yeah, not bad. I keep encouraging like everyone I know to just drink more, you know. And I don't know whether that's a coping mechanism because I drink a lot. But people are like, oh, you know, whatever problem they sort of suggest, I say you should just get pissed right up every now and then. Do you know what I mean? That seems to be my like fix for everything. Because look, the world is ending, but I'm so cheerful on a daily basis. You know, very happy. Yeah, you know, have a little sip of this, sip of that. You know.
I don't think it's too bad. I still drink. I pretty much drink every week. I'm into San Miguel at the moment.
San
And
Miguel.
yeah, it's just nice.
You know,
Well, I just get those
San
two
Miguel's-
bottles. Two bottles from Tesco's, isn't it?
Yeah, you know they call Stella wife beater. Well, the plumber at work the other day, he drinks San Miguel and he's got a Spanish missus, and he says they call San Miguel Senorita beater. So, so it's like a global thing, yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Well, I spent like 12 years in the army, so I hardly drink at all. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is alcohol a big thing in the army, Duke? I imagine all that discipline.
Nowadays,
just don't
I
do
don't
it.
know. Nowadays I don't know. Back in the day, if you were going out on a Saturday night with your mates from the army, you'd better be able to drink 8 pints at least.
Mm. Yeah, I imagine it's like a rugby team because they're sort of renowned for having, you know, the most brutal sort of piss ups amongst the team and that can go on for a few days. But they don't strike me as the type to actually drink like, you know, professionally through the week. You know, I imagine the army's the same thing, isn't it?
Well, you don't drink on duty, obviously, because like A, you'd get killed, and B, it would be like you'd get in trouble. But every single opportunity when you were not on duty, you used to drink. Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. Well then, yeah. There you go. I guess everyone just likes to drink at the end of the day, innit? I should stop feeling so bad about it. Yeah.
I mean, you know, it was kind of like if you went out on a Saturday night in Aldershot, you really needed to drink to go out on a Saturday night in Aldershot. You know, it's like I've had sailors say to me, like Royal Navy sailors say to me, "Oh, Portsmouth is rough." Portsmouth's like fucking Shangri-La compared to Aldershot, but you know.
Yeah. Godzone saying cheers. Yeah, cheers, Godzone. Cheers. I'm on my last one. I thought I was too pissed to come on, but actually this has sobered me up quite dramatically. Yeah, marvellous.
You don't sound that pissed, mate.
No, I felt, you know, when you sort of, well, as the evening goes on, if you're on your tour and you're just steadily drinking by the fire and you think, oh, it's just about bedtime, but then you get invited on a podcast and then you're on it all of a sudden, you know? Yeah, I don't know. It's like a little rush of blood to the head, isn't it? Yeah.
But you remember that old thing about you drink yourself back sober?
I don't know. I've never achieved that actually. I've never ever. I like how this stream's turned into sort of Alcoholics Anonymous as soon as I turned up as well. But it's no, I've never achieved that. Like I just drink and drink and drink and drink and drink, and then all of a sudden it's absolutely over. Like by every metric, you know what I mean? You've got to drink very slowly to be able to you know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah, you've got to be able to drink very, very slowly to sort of stay the course of any party, army night out, I suppose, or rugby team night out. You know,
Well, you eat a little bit. You eat a little bit. Drink half a pint of milk is another way. Line the stomach.
Yeah,
that helps.
Depends how big you are as well. You know, if you're going on 7 foot and you're quite a stacked bloke, you can obviously drink a bit more than the sort of like lean, smaller fella. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm 6'2" and about 200 pounds, and I'm about 6 or 7 pounds heavier than when I was 18. So
Right.
yeah, all right. Yeah, Iceman, Ashai Japanese beer. Yeah, I like Ashai beer. It's nice. Yeah, I like that.
I do feel like we are a little bit ashamed for drinking when it was just something that our fathers and grandfathers would do, and they wouldn't have to feel so guilty about it.
Yep.
Like they'd all be down the pub. You know, like my mum and dad told me like you could just go to the pub and leave your kids sitting in the car outside, and it wasn't like
not really.
Was
it like a big deal at all?
No, I don't agree with that, Bruce. I don't.
That's probably because you're from a bit of a different class, but anyway, it wasn't considered to be a big deal from where I come from.
When you say I'm a bit of a different class, what do you think I am? Higher or lower?
Higher.
Definitely not, mate. Definitely not. My father was absolutely a working class guy. He was a warehouseman when he wasn't in the army.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I mean,
when you say it's like a, sorry, go on. Sorry, lads.
Well, when my dad took me to the pub when I was like 14, and he let me have one small bottle of Lyell, which I thought was great. So, but
yeah. Well, anyway, I mean, the point I'm trying to get at is like
he'd never take me there and leave me outside. Never in his life.
Okay. Well, anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that you know, people used to drink after work and wasn't a big deal. And I don't know. I just feel like there's so much pressure put on us for self-improvement these days. It's kind of like, well, can't I just drink beer? Isn't it?
I think it's a psychological thing. Like, I think basically in a healthy society, or like, you know, as close to as healthy as we've ever known it, you know, i.e. 30, 40 years ago, you know, pre-feminism, all this kind of crap, pre-immigration, you know, having a drink's like okay, you know, as long as you don't take it too far, and you know, there's kind of domestic abuse, or you get violent, or you're having fights, or you get into sort of gambling or whatever. But I think in a healthy society, a bloke having a drink after work it's nothing at all, you know, or even just drinking consistently, you know. But nowadays, in a kind of crumbling society, obviously everything is associated with despair and decline, you know. So I think it's just more about the shift in attitudes as things kind of get worse and feel worse. Then drinking, it's like, oh God, it's a cope, isn't it? In a way, it's like there's so many young men drinking, and it's due to despair. Whereas in a healthy society, it's like it's just normal. People have a drink. People get a bit pissed. I mean, think of Fred Dibner, the you know, the chimney guy. He was having a beer all day long type thing, you know, and that's in a healthy society. So
yeah, he certainly had one with his lunch for sure. I used to like Fred Dibner. I like
Fred Dibner.
Oh, did you not, Bruce? Did you not see Dora of Albion's video about Fred Dibner?
No.
Beauty, isn't he? Yeah.
He used to do stuff on the top of these enormous, great, like factory chimneys and stuff, and he wouldn't wear a hard hat, and he wouldn't even tie himself on. He'd just walk around. Like, he was a real British guy.
He's a real legend. Yeah.
You know, he was great.
Dibner.
Fred Dibner.
Yeah, Fred Dibner.
Dibnah. Okay.
Yeah. Luckily, he was so popular. There's like tons. Yeah, steeplechase. That was the word I was looking for. Luckily, he was so
Steeplechase.
popular. There's tons of footage of him, But he used to like a brown ale at lunchtime, and then probably quite a few after,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just saying.
He'd have a brown ale and then climb up like 100-foot chimney.
And walk
Without
around
a ladder,
the edge.
yeah.
Yeah, and walk around the edge with no rope.
Yeah, I know you guys don't really sort of like Morgoth too much nowadays, but he's the sort of person that Morgoth sort of like what's the word? Not idolise, but when Morgoth's doing some weird analogy for something about something up north, Fred Dibner's sort of what he's imagining, where he sets his examples in a way.
I know, I've upset 8-Bit Mosley in the chat. I don't know who Fred Dibner. I know. I'm sorry.
Go on, you got to look him up, mate. He was a legend. He used to be on TV all the time when I was a kid.
Oh God! Wow.
Oh, is 8-Bit still about? Yeah, nice one. Yeah, you love a bit of Fred Dibner, chaps. Really, really nice. Just little short videos on YouTube. Yeah, he just shins up the biggest chimney you've ever seen. And the thing is that there is no ladder. He's got this method for creating his own ladder, and then he just gets up the top, whips his flask out, has a cup of tea, and I think he was a smoker. Was he, Duke? Does he have his pipe up there? Yeah, and then he just starts whacking bricks with his sledgehammer, sticks him in a bucket, and he's rigged up this mechanism that takes the bucket down. And I don't think I'm making this up. I haven't seen the video of it, but I've heard a story where at the end of the day he would counterbalance. He knew how many bricks to put in this bucket, all right? Okay, which was the same weight as Fred Dibner. And at the end of the day, when he done his shift, he'd just stick the buckets in, and he would literally descend this like 300-foot chimney, and the brake. Do you see what I mean? The bucket full of bricks would counterbalance his weight, and he'd just go down like flipping like Batman, or something, or like Spider-Man. Do you know what I mean? The guy is a nutcase. He's a living legend. Yeah.
He was the sort of like really skilled, working class British guy, but really, really skilled and very knowledgeable. Who was like your fucking legend class in the UK and back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this reminds me. We used to talk about this a lot with Caber, didn't we? Because
I remember Caber. He was great. Yeah.
Because we'd talk about old England, but in old England, obviously, before people drank tea, they drank ale, didn't they? Because you didn't want to get sick from drinking the water, and the alcohol kind of kills off the germs. So everyone would basically be pissed all the time. And
that's not true, Brutus. That's not true.
Well, I know, but I'm just
a lot of that
just
stuff.
Humour me with my fantasy. Humour me with my fantasy. But anyway, Cable would make the point that all these great Gothic cathedrals, they're all built while people were basically drinking, And you didn't need any safety net, and you didn't need any this and that, health and safety, and you just build these massive stone cathedrals.
I had a little
ale.
I had a little theory the other day.
I just want to say one thing to Nathan Prime in the chat, because he's been saying it for a while. I do not have a mid-Atlantic accent. When I left the British Army, I moved to South Africa. I lived there for 15 years. Eventually, I met an Aussie chick in South Africa, and I moved to Australia. So my accent is from London in the UK. It's from South Africa, and it's Australian. There's nothing mid-Atlantic about it at all.
You have got that sort of colonial accent, though.
Oh, colonial? Yeah, colonial. I'll be proud of colonial, but it's not mid-Atlantic.
Yeah, my grandfather's stepbrother, he was always all in many different colonies, and he had sort of a similar sort of accent to him.
Yeah, cool, man. Thank you, Yeah, I'm proud. If someone calls me colonial, I'd be proud, mate. That's cool.
All right. Since we're talking about Fred Dibner, I might segue into, maybe Ataman's heard this guy because he likes the Soviet Union. Alexei Stakhanov. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this, but I mean, basically, James Delingpole just wrote an article talking about this Captain Tom guy and how, like, Boris Johnson's bigging him up and blah, blah, blah. And they're just kind of making him out to be this great hero because he walked up and down his garden in his Zimmer frame. And he's comparing him to Alexei Stakhanov. And Alexei Stakhanov was a Soviet hero who dug up a lot of coal, and they basically promoted him as being this great, like, working class hero in the Soviet Union. And there was an entire movement called the Stakhanov movement, and where they just inspired people to be like Alexei Stakhanov and to just work hard and produce more, basically. And so he was making the point that with this Captain Tom guy, it's almost the kind of the same thing that they're promoting. You know, it's like clap for the NHS, be like Captain Tom, walk up and down your garden in his Zimmer frame for the NHS and this kind of thing. Do you know who he is, Ataman?
Yeah, vaguely. I know of the Stakhanov movement. It was like a big propaganda thing for him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think he was
Can
given
I just
quite a
ask-
few high-ranking medals.
Yeah.
Can I just ask if we know whether it's slightly unrelated, but did Captain Tom have the vaccine or not? I've seen conflicting reports.
Went to the Bahamas, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I tell you what, guys, and this is from my Minds channel. Please go and join my Minds channel. Iron Duke 99 is my Minds channel. I actually reblogged a thing that David Vance put out. You know, the Northern Irish guy. There was some Catholic Irish bastard who put out a thing saying, "Burn in hell. The only good British soldier is a dead British soldier," about 100-year-old bloke.
Yeah.
So fuck that cunt for a start.
Mm.
You know
There
that
was
you know
some-
the old
yeah.
dude who did the stuff for coronavirus and got used by the
Yeah.
hobo homo.
Who said that?
Oh, some Irish cunt who put a photograph of him in as a leprechaun with an Irish flag behind him, saying the only good British soldier was a dead British soldier, and that old bastard should burn in hell. He meant.
Yeah.
Was that
Well,
Keith
some
Woods,
black
was it?
fella.
No, it wasn't. No, it was not Keith Woods. Okay, I don't
Yeah.
think Keith Woods is that idiotic, to be honest with you.
Some black fella tried to say that it was he's a reverend, and it was all over Twitter, and then Talk Radio covered it. I don't know about anybody else. I don't think it made it to like LBC or anything. But some black fella, and it probably speaks to like you guys, your 37 words type mentality. You know, he was saying this Uncle Tom, Captain Tom thing. It reeks of British white nationalism, you know. And he
Good.
said, "Yes, I will pray for." He said, "Yes, I will pray for his soul, but I will not be taking part in this national clap." You know, because everyone was meant to come out and clap for Captain Tom, but
I wouldn't do that. I'm not performing Sealand.
But this is before the old fella's even in the ground type thing. You know, the media's already come up with a kind of person, a person of colour, somebody from BAME to suggest that this entire thing, just to remind white people as they're being a little bit patriotic, as they're allowed, in fact, as they're being encouraged on those very rare occasions that the mainstream media actually encourages the general populace to be just slightly safely patriotic. Only a day later, it's being called white nationalism by the mainstream media. You know, the machinery involved in this is staggering. You know, and I've got a little local story to back that up. I can tell you about it a little bit later on. I'm just so surprised by how fast the machinery works these days. It's unbelievable.
But as soon as you see any like mainstream media or politician talk about white nationalism, particularly in Britain, for example, or any of the old Commonwealth countries, which is to say Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and back in the day, South Africa, as soon as you see someone say white nationalism, you know they're going to come out with crap and lies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everything's inverted, isn't it, Brutus? Go on, mate. Yeah.
No, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think it's one of the reasons people have kind of rallied behind this COVID thing, because it is sort of an expression of nationalism. It's like we're all in it together, and people kind of want that, don't they? They want to rally together, isn't it? Well, I mean,
Yeah,
it is a bullshit
and
way
Boris-
of doing it, but
yeah.
people do like it. Like the whole clap for the NHS thing, they kind of like it in a way, and I can understand why they like it. It's just like you're being cheated, though. You know.
Yeah, it's a very fake thing, but the Conservatives they're giving you this like ultra safe kind of like let's all come together, you know. In fact, maybe this pandemic will undo all of this bad feeling about multiculturalism if we come together.
Yeah.
But then a few months down the line, and all the radio reports are kind of, I was listening to Radio 4, or Radio Foreskin, as I call it, a little while ago, and it was this like really heartwarming program about like how are we going to get the ethnic minorities to take the vaccine? They don't seem to want to take it, you know. And it just occurred to me that there aren't really any ethnic minorities listening to this program, not in great numbers. This is yet another kind of like feel good, you know, white liberal thing, isn't it? You know, kind of like, oh God, if only they'd take it. You know, why is it only us taking it? It was the weirdest propaganda I've heard in a while, but can I tell you my little story? I'll keep it brief as I can, yeah. But listen, this is about how fast things move. Because where I live,
hang on, can we call it the grief brief?
The grief brief, but it ain't. Yeah, well, all right, yeah, ready.
No, we should call it the brief grief.
Well,
the grief briefing.
I wish it would. I wish it was, yeah. But just just quickly to back up what I was saying before about how fast things move. Okay, this is on local radio. I listen to a lot of radio nowadays. All right, and local radio. I live in Cornwall, so you know it's super local, yeah. And
best part of England, easy.
Oh, it's beautiful. I suggest everybody comes here. You know,
I love Cornwall.
And I actually think that might be a strategy, but that's something for a different conversation. A strategy, just. All of you who are aware, come down here, you know. Because the net will tighten, yeah.
It's not actually as good as Devon, I have to point out. But anyway, carry on.
Right, okay. Oh, well, they're talking about Devon on the radio too, Brutus. You know what I mean? Devon ain't safe.
Grief, when you've told your story, I'm going to talk to you for 5 minutes about Cornwall, please.
Okay, all right. Well, look, just super quick, if I can. Let me recollect my thoughts here. Okay, so what happened was on the radio there was a regular kind of bulletin in the news. You know, they like wrap the news up, you know, every sort of 15 minutes, you know, and it was in there, and it was basically what happened is. The 100-handers are down in my town, okay? We're a tiny little town, but 100-handers are down here. I started seeing their little stickers going up, all right? And then I saw stickers that weren't made by 100-handers. And there's, I spoke to God's Own about this a little while ago. There's this, like, every lamppost in my town, in every back alley, has this ongoing kind of sticker war. It's fascinating to watch, all right? But everybody is sticking up stickers, including kind of like older normal people, like because of COVID, there's all these stickers going up absolutely everywhere. And then some seriously far right posters went up, okay, about the 4x2s, the bin lids, okay. And they were on the seafront, okay. And this went on for maybe 3 or 4 months. And also there's an art gallery in my town, and they when the George Floyd incident happened, they put up scaffolding all around the building, and they commissioned like ultra woke artwork, all right? So in my little coastal kind of like fishing village, like in buttfuck nowhere, the culture war is rife, you know. It's crazy. You've got this weird little art gallery full of lesbians like doing their poster thing. You've got normal people doing COVID posters, and then apparently there's a mad lad out there, it's not me by the way, doing these like mad posters like all about the JQ, and also there's a 100-handers person down here, okay. But the point is, all of this happened, it took about 4 months to really come to a head, okay. And then when we left the EU, I don't know which councillor it was, but all along our seafront we've got flags, beautiful flagpoles, okay. And when we left the EU, some councillor, he put the Union Jack, 50 of them, all along the seafront. It was absolutely beautiful, okay.
Wow.
And what happened? This was on a Friday. It was glorious. All right, everyone was loving it. Some people were saying, "Well, it should have been the Cornish flag," but basically, people were loving it. You know, it was patriotism, right? cut a long story short, which is impossible at this point, I apologise. We've got a mixed race Labour mayor in this town, and she sent out a squad over the weekend at the crack of dawn to take the flags down.
Oh, jeez.
To take the flags down. All right. Okay. Now, to wrap the story up, okay, she received a bit of abuse online, Right, now the point about the machinery working so damn fast, yeah, hail Natty, by the way, yeah, he's down in Cornwall. Godzone's just saying. The story about this, the machinery working so fast, okay. So I'm at work and I'm hearing the adverts on the radio, okay, and they're mentioning George Floyd, and they're saying, a race and equality commission has been set up after the death of the murder of George Floyd in America. And I'm just thinking, hang about, that was like fucking nigh on 6 months ago. Do you know what I mean?
And it was suicide.
Yeah. Well, and that. No, I'm just repeating how they spun it, type thing, you know. And then it was on the front page of our local paper that this woman, it's being considered a hate crime, okay, and and essentially now there's a government, a council-led thing to set up a inquiry into diversity in Cornwall, and this little 30-second advert just had a kind of generic black woman who's lived in Cornwall all her life type thing, and she was like, yeah, well, it's not very diverse down here, I've never really noticed it, to be honest, but it would be nice if it was a bit more diverse, like that. And I just think, holy fuck, like, the punchline of this story is some far right stickers go up, there's a debacle about some flags, next thing you know, boom, now there's an inquiry, and in a year from now there's going to be Somalians all over the gaff. It's as simple as that, you know. So, you know, it's a bit of a black pill in a way, you know. You try and do a bit of good, and actually the machinery will reverse over your face, you know. Yeah,
I shouldn't laugh. Yeah.
So don't be cocky about Devon, because it only takes a little bit in the local paper, and all of a sudden there's a fucking inquiry, you know, into why aren't there black people in Cornwall, you know?
No, I've had a similar experience getting blackpilled. Like, I was driving through flipping Dartmoor, like, which is just, there's nothing there, but just a really nice, beautiful old village in the middle of Dartmoor. And I just go out there and I'm walking around the place, and they had pictures up saying, you know, welcome refugees and how they're going to help them come into the community and all this kind of bullshit. And it's very blackpilling. There you go. Duke, Susie says she's there. I don't know if you can see her on the screen. If you add her to the
marvellous.
chat.
That'd be nice. I'm going to mute up for 5 minutes, gents. I've said enough. I'll take a break.
There you go.
And good day, Susie. Glad to have you on here, mate.
Hello, is my sound alright? I think I'm in there twice as well, because my internet's crap. So if I sound horrible, just tell me and I'll mute or something.
No, you sound lovely.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice of you. I had to come on because Brutus was going to shout at me, so...
Oh,
well, it usually works.
Don't let him shower you.
Well, it worked, didn't it? So there you go.
Yeah.
So there you go. What are we talking about? Cornwall, drinking beer.
Cornwall. I want to talk to Grief about that just for like 2 minutes, because it's my stream. I can. I wanted to know from Grief: does he know Foy, and does he like it? Does he know Mousel, and does he like it? And
I can see Mousel out of my window. Yes.
Oh, you
didn't you do a thing? Hang on a minute. Didn't you do a whole thing about Mousel, and some lady put a sign up, and there was a website, a refugee welcome website?
There's a shrine to Grenfell Tower in the most ancient fishing village in Cornwall. And the lady who's responsible for it, when we were all on Telegram back in the day, I tried instigating, I tried getting all the lads on board. I thought, come on, boys, let's do this. But we completely and utterly cocked it up.
No, we did it. We did it. We all went on to that YouTube video.
But listen.
And you said we weren't doing it properly, and it was like,
because come on, Bruce, let me give you a pro tip about fucking trolling. Do you know what an instigated attack looks like? It's when when say a channel has got 10 videos and one of them, all of a sudden, for absolutely no reason at all, gets 45 dislikes and 10 comments just going like, the generic blah blah blah. But then you all go back to sleep, didn't you? So then the next video, it's just back to normal, and so then they can say, oh, it's an isolated incident. It's not actual heartfelt sentiment from the community. It's not genuine disagreement. It's just the one-off. It's probably the hacker known as 4chan, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Great. Let me tell you something. I went to Mousel in the middle of the winter with my late wife, and we bought that famous book, The Mousel Cat.
Oh yeah. I know.
And that was one of the first books. My little boy, who's now in his 20s, and in the Royal Navy, got read as a bedtime story.
It's a beautiful book, yeah. And also a fact for you, Duke, you probably already know this, but isn't Mousel where the sea level is set for the entire globe? Is that true? Like, you're a Navy man.
I'm not sure of that, mate, but I do know it's one of the oldest fishing villages in Cornwall, and it's got this beautiful little harbour, and you guys have this festival every quite close to Christmas, isn't it? When you light the whole harbour up and all this stuff?
Yeah, they do that. But the more interesting festival is the one in just next door, and it's Montauk, which is like this pagan... just this pagan madness, everyone's dressed up like sort of like 9-foot crows, and it's pretty cool. Yeah.
One of my good mates lived in Foy, and Foy used to have like a chain that went across the harbour to stop the French getting in, or the Spanish.
Nice, yeah. Well, tell me where Foy is near, because the thing you've got to know about me, Duke, just quickly, is that I'm a refugee from London. Do you see what I mean? I left London, as I fled. So
I thought because I'm not from your accent. I thought that.
Yes. Yeah, so basically my geography in Cornwall isn't too good, because I just got here and kind of stayed put, really,
Well, if you're near Mousel, you're doing bloody well, mate, because Mousel's one of the nicest places there. Yeah. And Falmouth is lovely. Falmouth is one of my favourite towns in the UK.
I lived in Falmouth for a while. Yeah, I worked at both docks, Pendennis Shipyard and the AMP next door. Yeah, but worked on some nice boats and a couple of army ships as well.
It's actually the main base for the Royal Fleet Auxiliary that supports the Royal Navy with all the supply ships and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, apparently it would actually, as quaint as the small town is, apparently it would actually be a major target because it's the third deepest harbour either we've got or third in the world, something like that, or in Europe. Yeah, it's a big one. It's significant. So yeah.
No, Cornwall is to me like the two places in the UK that I absolutely adored would be Cornwall and up around Cape Wrath, which is the northwest of Scotland, that has the highest cliffs in Europe. And they're quite similar because they're both places surrounded by the ocean, which I really love. And to me, like the sea and the Royal Navy, that's the real British stuff,
Yeah,
Smoothie, nice.
Smoothie Susie. There you go, you've been named.
Oh, come on. That is not fair. And I think
that's fine.
Why would anyone call her that? There's no reason for it to call.
Oh no, that was me. No, it's just always such a no. Look, it's just you're on a podcast and it's just a load of racist lads or whatever, and some of them.
I'm not racist. I just like.
No, I'm not.
I'm not racist.
English,
I just don't like them.
English.
However you want to spin it, I'm just saying you're all talking about geopolitics and the end of the world, and then and Susie, I apologise. I'm the one who called you Smoothie Susie. Nice to meet you, by the way. It's just like I haven't really heard. I haven't heard a female voice in a while, and then all this, so you're being all racist with your mates, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, hello, I'm Susie, and it's like, Jesus Christ, what was that? Like, it's a shock to the system. That was all. So, but I apologise. Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. I chat to you in the chat sometimes, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, lovely, jubbly. Crack on. Yeah.
Well, you've been named now. So that's it.
She has a nice voice. I'll say that for her.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's exactly what I meant. Yeah.
Grief's good at giving names. Do you remember when you named Babylon is Falling? You called her Babs.
Who?
The other lady we used to have on the show. You called her Babs, and the name stuck.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. I
You're
don't think that was me, was it?
It was you. You are literally the name of women.
No, I'm the person who started calling Claire Court Auntie, and that's
right. That stuck.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm not responsible for Babs. I don't think I know who Babs is.
No, you
are.
are.
No, Auntie Claire.
Babs.
Yeah.
Babylon is falling. You called her. Oh, you don't even.
Is
remember.
she the security guard who did that mental stream with us that time? Is she the security guard, like the prison mentalist? What's
A woman security guard?
That was Gopnik.
Oh, Gopnik. Yeah, she was great, wasn't she? Yeah,
she was. She had some horror stories. She was
very interesting
guard, but she just deal with like therapy, and she was dealing with like kids that like raped each other and killed each other and stuff. Really
no, but do you remember it wasn't like a kind of when you go for therapy, it's all sort of like these were people who were actually incarcerated. They couldn't leave. She went in to see them, so it was a little bit prison vibe. Yeah. They were horror stories. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I remember she was on the stream with 6 blokes, and I remember at some point somebody pointed out you're like more you've got bigger balls than all of us, like in terms of your day to day, what you do for a living. Yeah, Christ.
But hang on, guys. Look, one of the things that I think makes British nationalists distinct from the Nazi LARPer wanks is that so many Nazi LARPers are gay. Like, they're attracted to the gay Hugo Boss uniforms. A lot of them actually are gay. I could name names, but I'm not going to. But you know the blokes I'm talking about. And the Nazis have always attracted all these gay guys. Whereas British nationalists tend to be gentlemen who kind of like chicks, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah. Don't bring up the gay question, Duke. That's what me and Grief used to fight about all the time.
No. Why are you gay? Was one of you gay?
No, I'm not gay. It's just I
didn't think you were either. I didn't think so.
Yeah. No, I'm not gay. No, what it was like, we were all on Telegram 6 months or a year ago. I can't even remember. And, I like to start my day not thinking about gay people, but I'd wake up and I'd have direct, like, messages, and then I'd look at the feed like that. And people were like, "Here, Grief, what do you think about gay people?" like that. And I'd be like, "Well, hang about. I'm just going to have a cup of tea and go to work, to be honest." You know what I mean? And then I come home and like there'd be a debate raging and people leaving each other voice messages and that, and I'd just be like, you know what? And then Brutus would force me to stream, and I thought we were just trying to, like, I don't know, just get as many lads on board and sort of like, have a crack at saving England. But everyone's like, "Here, what do you think about these queers?" And I just thought, fucking hell. So yeah.
I will say though.
Doherty fan in the chat. Gays were executed under the Nazis. Yeah, eventually when it suited them.
I will say I've done a stream with a gay now. I did a stream with Thomas Biden Rice. So there you go.
Oh, is he openly
is Thomas gay?
Is he openly
well,
gay?
I know he's
that's sad.
He's just confused. He's confused.
Hey, have any of you guys
out of him, but he's a little bit gay.
Have any of you guys seen Thomas Baden Rice's Plenty of Fish story? I think it's probably 3 or 4 years old now, and it might not be on his channel. But if you bug him, he might re-upload it. It's the funniest thing you'll ever hear in your life.
Is that the story of how he got laid with that girl?
Yeah, but he got really hungry, and first he had some
he bought the
porridge.
meat. He bought the meat.
Yeah, he bought the mince. Have you heard it? Oh my god! It's so good.
It's the funniest thing ever.
Brutus, if it's still on the internet, you should cover it like point by point in the stream. I'll do it with you. Yeah.
Brutus, you can cover that on any stream you like. That is your stream. This is not a gay stream. This is my
No,
street.
it's not
God-
gay.
God's
No,
own.
no, it's not gay. He's
Hang
just
on,
trying to.
hang on,
He's
guys,
trying
hang
to.
on.
He's trying to lay this woman, and he goes to the bar and he meets this older woman, and then he's
Yeah.
taking her home, or he's going back to her place, and he has to stop at Tesco's to buy some mints.
What?
Yeah, he's like,
hungry.
he's like, yeah, she like basically, yeah. When they get back to the house, like she throws him on. It's already awkward. It's already awkward because like they.
Why would he not assume that any woman he's going with is going to feed him? Because I would, you know, like if I go with a girl, he's going to feed me.
No, Duke. No, the way it works is he keeps backing out. Basically, he keeps like every opportunity in the date. She's trying to advance it. She's like, "Look, it's boring having a drink. We should probably leave like soon and have sex." Type thing.
Okay,
Well, look, I don't know, but at every opportunity, Listen, at every opportunity, when she tries to advance it to the next level, he basically says, "No, I'm really hungry. I'm really hungry." And the first way he gets out of it is by cooking some porridge, or no, buying some porridge type thing. And then anyway, he has the porridge, and then the woman, she's basically got him. She's like, "Right, I've got you." So they go in the living room, and she throws herself at him type thing, but he's like, "Nah, I'm absolutely starving," like, and he's like, anyway, he ends up cooking some mince, and he's like, "Do you want some?" And she's like, "Nah," like, of course I fucking don't, you know. And then out it end, Brutus, basically they don't even really have like much sex, and I think what happens at the end is like he ends up sort of like doing a bit of like masturbation on her, like after failing the act of sex, and then no, but the way it ends is like after doing that on her, he starts in his head, in his over-logical, over-complicated sort of head, he's thinking, well, hang about, this isn't fair at all. So then after like a quite a long time of sort of silence after he's masturbated her, he pipes up and says, could you masturbate me like that? and then like I think that happened, and then they just went to bed and never saw each other ever again. And then he did a YouTube video about it called My Plenty of Fish Story, or My POF Story. So if it's still on the internet, fair play to Thomas Baden Rice. That is legendary.
Susie, most male nationalists are not this gay, trust me.
Thomas Watts been around for about 4 years, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has,
He's
but
been around forever,
he seemed a bit gay to me, to be honest. But
he's funny.
Right.
He's all right.
He's funny.
Might be funny. Listen, I've known gay guys who were funny, but they weren't straight.
He's a cool guy. Yeah.
Nat Pan Rhyme, shopping is already gay by my standards. Yeah, it was. My late girlfriend, knew that shopping was gay by my standards and would position me in a pub every time she went to the shops. And so I'll be back soon.
All right, hang on. Because we talked about this before. We've got a girl on the channel now, so we'll ask her opinion. Susie, if men go out shopping together, is it gay?
Yes.
Yes.
You're not Susie.
I think so.
Everyone knows
I would say
that's
so.
gay, Brutus.
Allow the girl to speak, for God's sake, man. Is it gay, Susie?
I would say so. The vast majority of the time, probably, yeah.
Jeez.
Well done, Susie.
Well, not. I mean, it depends, doesn't it? It depends on what you're shopping for as well.
What if you're just like a young teenage man?
No. If you're a teenager, it's different. If you're a teenager, it's different because you've got nothing else to do.
Right.
But what can two
And you like to go out in
men
public and roam around the shops and make a nuisance of yourself.
Susie,
Yeah,
what
that's
can
different.
two men shop for together?
Well, I don't know. That's the point. But I mean, it's different if you're
Exactly.
adults. If you're teenagers, it doesn't really count.
The context is entirely the point here, isn't it? If you're shopping for shotgun shells and liquor, you know, it's probably
There we
not
go,
gay,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But if it's like leather underpants and something else, it's probably quite gay.
But it's also if you're actually shopping as opposed to wandering around a shop, you know? Because you can wander around a shopping centre for entertainment. If you're a teenager, that's what they do, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have no
I don't
idea.
know.
Maybe
Do
they
they?
do.
Maybe.
Maybe. Five Live, I've never bought underpants when I was shopping.
Hang on, you
except for
don't wear
my
underwear?
own. Well,
Do you not
I
wear
do.
underwear, Duke?
No, I do, but I didn't say I was gay when I went out buying underpants. But like, I've never done that with another guy. I tell you what I did do. I used to go out buying panties and knickers for my late woman, so that I could pick the ones I liked. I used to do that. Maybe was that
Okay,
gay?
that's very heterosexual. Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't gay. Trust me.
Did you go with your friend when you're doing it?
No, just my woman. Just my woman.
Yeah. I think the secret of getting out of accusations of being called gay, I've been told that I worked in a very small kitchen. I'm talking really small, so there's quite a few blokes in there, and it was almost like a corridor, this kitchen. But the way they used to get around being called gay was like if you accidentally were in a compromising position with another person in a tight corner, the first person to say football out loud was automatically exempt. They weren't gay, and the other person was. Do you see what I mean? So
God.
If you say football, you're not gay. Yeah.
Was that English? Was that English
Football.
soccer?
I said it first. You're all gay.
No. Was that English soccer, which is really gay?
Yeah, it is gay. No, that's the irony, isn't it? It's really
English
gay.
soccer's totally gay. Like a guy goes near your ankle and you fall over and roll in agony for 5.5 minutes.
Do you like boxing, Duke? I imagine you like boxing.
Yeah, I did like boxing. I really like rugby union and I really like cricket.
Cricket's gay.
Oh yeah, cricket is gay. That's true.
Have you ever played cricket, Bruce?
It's gay. No,
Have
I don't
you
think it's
ever
gay.
played? No, because if you'd have ever been hit by a cricket ball, you would know it's not gay at all. But there we go.
Yeah, but that's really rare, isn't it? That's like super rare.
No,
the rest of the time
it's
just gay, isn't it?
No, it isn't.
It's just a bunch of people standing in a field. Okay, let's be honest here.
Brutus, listen, man. If you don't understand cricket, you are not a real Englishman.
Hang on. We'll ask the girl, seeing as she's the judge. Susie, is cricket gay or not?
I think it's level with football.
Oh,
It's way harder than football. Trust me.
What's the gayest sport on earth? I don't know.
Oh God, yeah, it's a hard one.
Probably football.
Yeah, probably.
No, actually, put Bolero in the chat. Cricket is like baseball with brains. But there we go.
Is Warhammer
Ice skating's pretty gay. 5-5.
Yeah,
ice
skating.
Oh, we've lost him. Yeah, we can take over his show.
What do you think about Joe Biden cancelling women's sports in America? That's quite something, isn't it?
What's he done?
It's mandatory trannies now, isn't it?
Oh, jeez, really?
Like he's signed it in, type thing, you know. So it has serious repercussions for all women's sports, all of it across the board, you know.
Yeah,
there are now loopholes all over the gaff. Yeah.
What do you think about trannies, Susie?
I try and avoid them where possible. Not good. Not pro. Not
no,
pro.
I think that's sage wisdom. That's sound advice, to be honest, isn't it? Yeah.
I don't know what
Bolero, I never fall. I just stumble.
Yeah.
Well done, Susie, by the way. Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
You just got to keep an eye out, haven't you? Basically, that's the way I'd put it. You know, if you're trying to be politically correct.
They're quite hard to miss, though, aren't they?
Okay,
depends how much you've had
aware, innit?
Depends how much you've had to drink.
Guys, I'm going to give you an example of this tranny thing. There is an enormous bloke, like who's about 6'4" and 230 pounds, who is supposedly a tranny, who is now playing women's Australian rules football. And you can watch videos on YouTube and other places where all these poor little girls try and tackle this big bully of a shitbag who just pushes them all over the place.
Yeah.
And that's what tranny sport is for women's sport. It's insane and it's really bad. And I know there's a few Australian people in the chat who will even know the name of this piece of shit.
It's I don't know. I mean, it's terrible because you think of the kids who are gonna, and I mean, the other angle to this is Biden's cabinet. You've seen his health minister. What's she called? What's he called rather? Levine. I assume you all know. I'm just saying, you feel terrible for the children, but as a sort of part-time accelerationist, speaking for myself, you have to look forward to it rather than despair. Really, kids are going to be drafted into this kind of way of thinking. It's absolutely poisonous, but it's going to happen regardless. So just enjoy the tranny sports, I guess.
I remember like 5 years ago, Daily Stormer. I remember Andrew Anglin telling people to join women's sport and just to push the tranny thing because he thought, and we all thought at the time, that like if men go into these sports and they start beating up women, then there'd be a massive reaction. And people would just be like, no, get this out. And there'd be a pushback. But there's no pushback. It's amazing that it's just being tolerated. Like, it's just it's undescribable.
Bruce, to be fair, Andrew Anglin was kind of pretending to be a white guy also, if you want to look at it that way.
Well, yeah, forget about the Anglin thing. I'm just saying people in general were just saying, like, everybody thought that if this happens, there'd be a massive outcry and a pushback, and it's not happened. I mean, Joe Rogan pushed back about it a little bit, and
I don't think it's happening on a wide enough scale. I see the odd thread on Poll, where there is actually like a photograph or two or three of a clear example of a man in spandex dominating some young girl at wrestling or something like that,
Yeah.
But I don't think it's wide enough, and it's certainly not reported in the media. And I don't know. I mean, you'd have to look into the whole TERFs versus what was it? I pay no attention to it, but the whole TERFs thing. How are they getting on? Are they successfully combating the trans movement or not?
Grief, the TERFs are not our allies.
Certainly not.
British
Yeah,
nationalists, they're not. They're still feminists. So they're not.
No, I just meant none of this should preoccupy our time or any of our mental space. Do you see what I mean? But if you wanted to know more, you'd have to have a quick rundown on where the TERFs are at, because it's pointless us railing against trannies. There's bigger fish to fry, surely. And mum, listen, like I say,
I've just looked that up for people who don't know what grief is talking about. It stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist. So there you go.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's the theory. No, totally. But what I'm saying is it's that theory that you can let Islam fight the gay question in a way. You can let them kind of do that, and also you can let the TERFs fight the tranny thing, and you can get women and mothers who have children in school be outraged that all of a sudden their little fragile daughter has this brutish bloke called Davina, who used to be called Dave. Now, do you see what I mean? We can focus on other things, and I agree with. I know this conversation is all over the place, but I agree with Brutus that actually white nationalism is slightly on the side, and it's or whatever you guys call it, British nationalism is on the side, and it's all about
white nationalism.
Well, it's all about lockdowns and vaccines right now, isn't it?
Yeah,
so,
we've got to fight back against that. And then we've got to go back to our absolute basic stuff, which is end mass forward immigration. But that's always been my view. And, everything else is bullshit.
J.K. Rowling turned out to be pretty base, though, which is kind of funny.
Oh, yeah. Once she was attacked by her former allies.
Yeah. So
actually, I because it's my stream, Adam, and you haven't said a word for ages. Please, what's your take on all this stuff, mate?
What, on trannies or cricket?
All of it. any and all of it that makes you interested.
Oh no, Ataman, combine the two if you can. You know, yeah.
You
go on.
can't combine trannies and
No,
cricket.
I
You can
love
easily
cricket.
combine. You can easily combine soccer and trannies.
Cricket's already gay. It doesn't need trannies.
Ah, fuck
Ooh,
off, Bruce.
no, I'm gonna say
You have obviously never played.
Yeah.
yeah, I like cricket. I used to play on a local team, so that won't work on me. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Are women going to react to trannies in sports? Will they actually do anything?
Well, most women don't play sports.
yeah.
That's the problem. Most women don't actually play sports.
Yeah, and I mean, this whole sisterhood thing, like the brotherhood thing's a bit of a cope. Like most women will just throw the few that complain under the bus for cultural appeasement.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it's only anecdotal evidence, but my mum's kind of like involved with sort of therapy and that, you know, and a lot of the people who are coming, you know, you only have a few clients, so it's purely anecdotal, but she has got people who are really, really getting stressed out with the syllabus, the curriculum at school, you know, and all these kind of, because basically what happens is your kid goes to school and when they come home, they may or may not tell you, oh, this weird thing they did today, like write a letter to their hypothetical trans friend or something like that, you know. You know, you don't get notified by these things. You either find out from your kid if it tells you, or you find out from another mum. And there are, like I say, these stickers going up on lampposts. Some of the things on there pertain to this. Like, I think the answer to that is yes. As time goes forward, listen, mothers care about their children, and if their children are being taught warped shit, you know, or being forced to do like George Floyd rituals. I know a lot of people are normal and kind of half support this kind of stuff, but when their kid is doing it, and especially without their knowledge, and then they find out in some weird way, that mums are pushing back, definitely, 100%. You know, I wouldn't be blackpilled about that. Normal people are going to start thinking, I don't want my kid in this mix. You know, I honestly believe that. Yeah,
I hope so. That'd be good.
yeah, it's happening. Honestly.
Susie, you're a girl. What sports have you played and are you really keen on?
Almost none. I got made to play netball a lot, which you do if you're a girl. Which is really boring and terrible.
I used to like netball. When I was about 14, we had a girls' school next to my boys' school, and when I was in maths,
okay.
yeah, I was in maths class as a 14-year-old, and I used to watch the girls playing netball in the maths class rather than listening to the Indian woman teacher I had whose English was so bad I couldn't understand her. So it was kind of much cuter watching the girls playing netball. But yeah, so is there any sport you still play?
No. I would never into team sports. I don't know. It's not. I think women just like them less generally. I don't know many women that are into team sports. It's usually a bloke's thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think you're totally right. Like my chick, when I was like with a girl, I'm 55. I'm an old bastard. So, but when I was when I was with my chick, she'd send me an email sometimes and say, because England and Australia were playing an Ashes test match, and she'd say, prepare the cricket worshipping ground. But that was for me. It wasn't for her, you know.
I know. Yeah, I don't. I can't even pretend I know about cricket at all. So when I said it was equally gay with football, that's just because I don't know how cricket works, and I couldn't even begin to guess. So.
Yeah, cricket's gay. Don't worry about it.
Is it?
No, it's not. Take no notice.
Listen, I'm not actually criticising the sport. I've been hurt by cricket before. That's what I'm trying to say. Because I used to try and cycle in Brighton. There was a velodrome. Yeah, I can't remember what the park was called.
Yeah,
but
I know, Brian.
When the cricket was playing in the middle of the field, and bearing in mind they only took up a quarter of the field was massive. They're like, no, you can't cycle. It's dangerous. You can't cycle. And then you say, well, how long until you finish? And they say, well, I don't know, could be like 1 hour, could be 9, you know, and then Yeah, and then you go back down there 9 hours later, and they were like, right, it's half time, we'll reconvene tomorrow. And I just thought, this sport is a joke. Like, this is mental. Like, wrap it up, lads. Come on. You know what I mean? Like, so anyway, I don't know anything about cricket, but I just hate those bastards. That's all. I'm biased.
Cricket is like war without guns. The cricket captain needs to understand strategy and tactics, and he needs to use his best weapons in the sense of his best bowlers.
All right, but I'm going to say something very controversial to you now.
Brilliant, man.
I know you're a British supremacist, but I'd say that softball, rounders, possibly even baseball, is the superior whack-a-ball sport.
Well, baseball is cricket without brains, but that's just obvious.
Okay.
Oh dear. Yeah, I think you're.
Cricket is just wonderful.
By the way, I mean I think you're right, Grief, about Mumsnet. I don't know if you mentioned Mumsnet, but I mean I remember talking about it before on the show a long time ago. We were talking about Mumsnet, weren't we? And how they do manage to get stuff done. And I think you're definitely right about mums pushing back. It's definitely the way to go.
Yeah, it's happening. I know of a few, just like anecdotally type thing. It's bound to be across the board. I mean, they won't. I don't think you'll ever get a woman to go anywhere near race or immigration type thing. But this lockdown and please stop secretly trying to make my kid feel guilty for being potentially racist, or please, for the love of God, stop trying to turn him gay or into something else. You know what I mean? These are just fundamental things, and I don't think any amount of propaganda will turn a modern woman too far away from those core values. I think that's biology you're looking at there.
Who's Posey Parker? They say God's own project saying they banned.
She's a blonde milif, I guess, who is a TERF.
What's a milif? A milf?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Who's a TERF? And the sort of person. Like, I agree with most of what she says, but she's still basically a feminist. So I don't really.
Okay,
she's got a YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. So and she got banned by Mumsnet, and she's basically like, oh right, I see. Oh God.
And she is a mum. She is actually a mum. She's got 2 or 3 kids, I believe.
So I mean, this is what's going on then. But you basically have men pretending to be women, and then they're muscling their way into Mumsnet and pushing all the women aside. Yeah. And then what they're doing is they're grooming the young kids to be gay.
Yeah, but you see what people are missing in all this is the left wing, and indeed the feminist thing, because feminism is basically left wing, is that there should be no difference between human beings. Like, it doesn't matter what sex you are or what race you are. We should all be the same. We should all be wearing little Mao suits and be the same. Like, men need to get much less masculine and women need to get more masculine. And that's the whole push. And you can see it everywhere. You can see it in the movement for blokes pretending to be women allowed in women's sports. You can see it in the military in every single Western country, including Britain and America and Australia. You can see it everywhere. We're all supposed to be the same. And that's what it's about. And so a few feminists, the TERFs, are now saying, oh, okay, I don't like this. Too fucking late, darling. Should have done it 20 years ago.
Let's ask our resident female. What do you think, Susie? Should we bring back the patriarchy or not?
Well,
Susie, that doesn't have to be Bruce, by the way.
Smoothie Susie.
There are other men.
Oh no, I think the patriarchy should be allowed back. I will support that. I will support the motion. Yeah.
There's a good goal.
Do you think women should be allowed to vote?
Oh no, but it's useless anyway. Voting is pointless largely, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Good. do you think
democracy is largely an illusion?
Mm.
Do you think women should be allowed into the office?
Office
Yeah.
as in.
Oh, come on. Yes, of course. Women make cute secretaries if they dress nicely.
Oh, I see. Any office in general, not a specific one. Okay. No. Yeah, I suppose. But it used to be a lot of the jobs that women do now, men used to do, and so economically probably not. But if you want a cute secretary, maybe there
Susie,
could
you
be.
know that's not true, don't you?
Well,
Like
it
most, no,
is.
it's
It
not.
is.
No, most of the jobs that women do these days didn't
Oh,
exist in the
HR. You're
past.
going to say HR? Yeah. No, the HR is made up, obviously, but men used to
HR
be
and
clerks
most
and
of the
things, and basically secretaries,
yeah,
and women
well,
weren't allowed to. Well, they were allowed to, I suppose, but they didn't.
No, not secretaries. Men used to be clerks, yeah.
Yeah,
but not
exactly.
secretary.
And then
yeah,
they
but
made
not,
a new job because women started being involved, and they gave it a new name. But that's basically what they were.
No, but a secretary is more like when I ran my own business, my secretary was the cute little chickie babe who met you at the door and smiled and had a really nice outfit and high heels on. That was the secretary, not a clerk.
Well,
okay,
hey, listen.
Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah.
Let me jump in, because the thing is, I'm not. I can tell a good story in that, and I can work quite hard on a building site. But I imagine, I've only known you for what, half hour, Susie, or whatever. But you know what I mean. I imagine Susie would probably be better intellectually placed in the quote unquote movement than I would. You know, like I say, I could dig you a fancy trench, and that's a. I could dig you a fancy trench, but I'm just saying in terms of this whole like men and
Can
women
you calm
argument.
down, like talking about digging trenches with Susie? Jesus Christ Almighty, mate!
Oh no! Did you take?
No,
I was saying I'm suited for manual labour and not so much sort of like the thinking and the speakings. You know what I mean? So I'm saying this argument
going to talk about ploughing a field next?
No, I can't believe you took it that fucking way. I didn't say it like that. I was trying to say that, like, I'm thick as a plank of wood. So this argument about men and women in the movement, it's kind of nonsense, because every now and then you get a really smart bird. Do you see what I mean? And you should embrace that rather than be like, oh no, there's this kind of weird arbitrary rule. I know it's a good rule of thumb, but every now and then, you know, look, women tend to read a lot of books. I read zero, and I also smoke a lot of dope. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm just saying, get a bit of perspective, innit? Bit of perspective.
There we go. Hang on.
This is not allowable. This is not allowable. Stop.
Grief
I
wants
have
to.
never heard anyone simp that hard in my entire life.
Grief wants to
I
dig
just
your
said birds
trench.
are all right.
No, Grief, stop.
I want to plough your field.
You're
God's
gonna
own prototype
boot
in the
me
chat
in a
wants to
minute,
tarmac
I'm
her
gonna
chest.
boot you in a minute, Grief. Honestly, if you carry on simping this way.
You guys are
Alright?
fucking. Listen, you're accusing me of simping while you guys are being openly vulgar. Vulgar.
No,
God, you're the one talking about
Where?
digging trenches,
No
mate.
one has been vulgar. Susie's
Unbelievable.
a very nice girl. She has a nice voice. I'm sure she's absolutely drop dead gorgeous. But I did not simp for her.
Oh dear. All right.
Grief,
I'm
that
gonna
was
go-
terrible, man. You cannot.
I'm gonna
do
go
that
make
on
a cup
this-
of tea.
You can't do
I'm
that
gonna-
on this channel, man. You can't do it. That
Oh
was the-
God.
I used
Oh
to-
God.
I get so annoyed when I watch Daughter of Albion, who makes great videos, by the way. She
Never
makes
heard of her.
great, she makes great videos, but she don't, and she's surrounded by right-wing simps all the time who think that she's like Supergirl or something like that, yeah, or somehow will give them a blowjob through the internet. I don't care.
Oh,
You can't do that on my channel.
oh my
Like
God.
Susie sounds a perfectly lovely girl, and she has a very nice voice.
To
But
be
you
fair,
can't simp. You can't simp like that, mate.
to be fair, I've got to interject here. I think Susie probably has read more books than Grief. You know.
Yeah, that's
Well,
my
I've
point.
got no idea. I've got no idea. I don't know how many books Susie has read or Grief has read.
But Grief's probably better at digging trenches, though. So, you know.
Yeah, that's my point. I'll be back in 5
is.
minutes, all right?
Yeah,
I'll be back in 5. I need to make a
bet
cup of
he
tea.
is. I would think that Grief would be better at digging trenches. Men are generally better at doing that.
Oh, Grief. Fucking.
Turn your fucking thing off, Grief.
Mute him, quick. Dude, mute him. Mute Grief. Press the mute button. Oh, there you go.
Dumb.
Right.
Susie, I apologise for that stuff. But honestly, like, I am sick to death of watching right-wing channels simp for girls.
Well, hang on a minute. Who's white knighting now?
Who's white knighting now, doubling down to defend Susie?
I'm not stupid.
Duke.
I'm not stupid. I'm kind of taking a piss, all right?
Okay.
No, you can't do this, guys. I mean, like, she sounds lovely to Susie, and I'm sure she's beautiful, and all the rest of it, but you can't turn around and just say, oh, yeah, women read more books than me. I mean, for fuck's sake. Okay, I've got to go and have a splash. You guys discuss.
Oh, God. We've had a falling out. Grief's left. Duke's left. Susie didn't even say anything. Sat there, giggling. It's all falling to pieces. Fucking hell. Oh, dear. It's like putting a cat amongst the pigeons or something, isn't it? It just goes haywire. Oh, dear. Anyway.
I can't breathe.
I was just trying to make a point about offices. I mean, because you were saying, like...
Don't start it.
Oh, God, she's on one. She's off. She's off her rocker. What do you think, Ataman? The girls read more books than guys?
You know, I don't actually know.
No, I don't know. I don't even think that's true.
I'm gonna have to look that now.
Oh gosh.
Oh, yeah. There you go. It's all gone quiet. Yeah. Poor Grief. Anyway. I was just trying to get you to talk, actually, about your office experience. Because you were telling me, like, all the women are just horrible to each other.
Oh yeah, it's awful. It's unbearable. The men are all right. It's because they'll be polite to you. I mean, whether they're simping or not, and however many books you've read, they'll kind of still be quite sound, and they can be quite friendly. Whereas women are they just hate each other immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, apparently women read a lot more books than men.
Oh, right. Oh, jeez. Oh. Grief's got a point then. You right, Grief?
Yeah, sorry, what happened? What?
Duke's left as well. It's all Susie's fault. All she did was sit there, and everyone's left. You left, Duke left. It all fell to pieces. All she did was sit there and giggle. That was it. Just giggled.
Just trying to give you some space, mate, you know? Yeah.
Oh, dear. Well,
I had to make a little cup of tea.
Ataman's fact-checked it. Apparently, girls do read more books than men. So there you go.
Yeah. You know, you constantly see it on 4chan. There's always this thread that comes up, and it's that women are struggling to find men who earn as much as them. Have you seen this one? I think that's probably a reality, isn't it? It's a result of just feminism, and now you get these high-flying women who, you know, they like a handsome man, but is he worth anything? Is he going places like I guess all those sitcoms alluded to? I don't know. I couldn't care less because I'm not in the game, you know.
Can he dominate her sexually? Also, is the other thing.
Welcome back, Duke. Welcome back.
Yeah, can he dig a trench? That's the question.
No, you don't need to dig a trench. But like, with these career girls,
I meant around her house, not, you know.
Yeah, no,
Can he plow her field?
Yeah, no, I didn't mean that. What I was trying to tell you was that with these career girls, and like late wife was a very middle class career girl, and I was a soldier, but I could dominate her sexually, which is what she liked, basically. And that's true of 95% of women, whatever feminists may lie to you about.
Yeah, but they do kind of tend to look down on a guy that's earning less money than them.
Well, like I said, it depends. If you can dominate her sexually, and also
if you're like a Chad army bloke,
and she thinks you're attractive, and you're much bigger than her, and her girlfriends all say, "Oh, he's a handsome guy." That makes a big difference, mate.
Yeah, but if you're like an ordinary bloke, with an ordinary job, and you're not,
I've never been an ordinary bloke, so I don't understand that.
no.
But yeah.
Yeah, but if you are an ordinary bloke with an ordinary job, and
with an ordinary penis.
Yeah, I've never been one of those people, so I can only tell the truth. I can only tell the truth.
All right, that's enough humble bragging. But anyway, I mean, if
I wasn't humble bragging.
No, I know you weren't. No, but if you are if you are just an ordinary bloke, then it does kind of make it. Yeah, women do earn more on average, and it does make it difficult, I think.
Come on, Bruce. Really, a lot of this is confidence, all right? For guys, confidence.
Also,
women do not like guys who are not confident.
Isn't it fair to say that ambition nowadays is also kind of wrapped up in naivety? Because I mean, the people who tend to have like ambition and serious goals within clown world, they obviously don't realise they're in clown world. Do you see what I mean? I think once you realise what the game's all about, and then it's like, oh right, fuck, we'll probably just stop playing it in a way,
But Grief, you just said you were a thick bastard who never read a book.
Oh no, I came up with that all by myself, Duke. Yeah, just now.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay. That was an original thought. Yeah.
It does read Poll though, so there you go.
Yeah, that must be where he got it. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that Sub-Zero take was all mine. Yeah, I'll stamp my name on that.
Oh, hang on. Let's ask the source, Susie. Would you
Susie the source? Did you just call her Saucy Susie?
Saucy Susie.
Saucy Susie. Absolutely right. Sounds great. Susie, no, I'm being serious. I'm begging your pardon. Is it not true that women generally want to look up to the man that they're with?
Yes.
Thank you very much. That's all I really wanted you to say.
Yeah, but in theory, is it actually the case? Is it actually the case?
No,
that's the romantic traditional. That's the traditional outlook, isn't it? Is it still the case? I'm not sure. I mean, I hope so.
It definitely is. Yeah.
Grief, they
I know
leave
loads
you.
of women
They leave
who are quite
you.
aggressive, and they all get sick of their boyfriends if their boyfriend is less ambitious than them or earns less than them or whatever.
All right,
and then they upgrade to someone else. Yeah.
Can we ask you this then? Because that's very interesting. Can you give us, let's say, the top 3 reasons a bird would leave a man? Like, because I've been dumped on my arse quite a few times, and I'd like to know why. Like, what's your top 3 reasons why you would dump me?
She hasn't even taken up with you yet, mate.
I'm getting a bit ahead of yourself here.
I think it's a fair question. Like, why do women, dump men? Like, what is it? Yeah.
What is one?
Top 3. Top 3.
It depends on the situation. Who are these women that you're being dumped by? Are they sort of?
No, I'm not.
What's the situation?
I'm not going to give you any more information. Just like why would you dump a man?
How am I supposed to give you 3 top reasons? I mean,
well, what if he's a bit boring, or what if he's got a tiny willy, or what if he's
there you go. There's 2.
All right. Okay, you give me the third. What would be the deal breaker on top of those 2 things? What would be the deal breaker?
Doesn't read enough books.
No. All right. Okay.
Susie, I will be sending you an invite to my Discord just for that answer.
Okay, well that's me out.
Is
That's
this
me out
is
the
this a
picture then,
Discord
isn't it?
with
Yeah.
almost no? Is this the 6-person Discord that you've mentioned before? Because I feel like that's quite an honour. to be
No,
honest.
it's not 6. It's about 15 actually now.
Oh, okay. That's still
But
quite.
it's never going above 30. And I can't even get Bruce to join it because he's scared.
I just don't like Discord. I never liked it. I don't know why.
Yeah, you're just scared, mate. I know. Adamant, you haven't said anything for ages. Please give us your input on this situation.
Once an hour, Duke will say, Ataman.
That's actually not true. I'll do it more often than that because Adamant's takes are some of the best takes of anyone on here, including me.
Ataman,
Including
we want the summary of everything that's just been said since the last time you spoke. The conclusion, what is it?
Okay, so if you're a bloke, be good looking, be smart, don't have a small dick.
Yep. All good advice. All good advice. Also, don't be boring. And don't ignore us sexually. That's another thing. Women will leave you for that pretty damn quick. And don't get into a really bad situation anywhere in life that will lead you to ignore her sexually. Because she'll leave you for that too.
Yeah.
And I've been there and done some of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, actually, I think Susie was being very honest. And I'm not lying about inviting her to the Discord. Adamant, please send her an invite to the Discord.
Well, here's another question for Saucy Susie.
No, hang on. Bolero, wait a minute, 1 second. Bolero 393 says, don't be bald or poor. You see, that's not true. I started losing my hair in my 20s and I just shaved my head and I've always done it. And women don't care about that at all. And you can even be poor if you're
I think they prefer it if you had hair, though.
No, I don't think that's necessarily true, to be honest. I haven't found that. But also, you can be poor. You've just got to be evil.
The thing about the baldness thing is at least you've got the option. Do you see what I mean? It's kind of, if you've got hair, you can you can change it up, can't you? But if you're bald, it's like, this is it. This is it now.
Well, it depends on your head shape, I guess. I suppose some guys have a poor head shape.
Well, you could have a comb over. That's always
yeah, that would be bad. That would be very bad. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think women give a shit about that.
Do you remember the day you found out you were going bald, Duke? Because I can remember it like it was yesterday.
No, my old man used to care about it so much. And I was in the army, and one day I was looking in the mirror and I was combing my hair, and I could see I was getting a male bald patch, which is basically caused by too much testosterone.
But was it a receder or a patch? Because it's one or the other. You either recede from the front or you get a hole at the back, don't you?
Yeah. Mine was more from the front, but I just thought, fuck it, I'm just going to shave it off, and I did. And I've never had some chick say it was bad. I've had quite a few chicks say they liked it, actually, but there you go. But I have a fairly good head shape, so that might have something to do with it.
I had a friend who had he had kind of wispy hair. He never, even as a kid, as a teenager, when you're you're growing, all your hormones are in full effect, and you should be like growing, a beard and things like that, a little patchy moustache, that sort of thing. But he always had wispy hair. Anyway, he went to a festival in Spain. It was rather hot, and he shaved his head, and it never came back. At 22, he shaved his head at a festival, came home, and it just flat out did not grow back. Do you know what I mean? That must have been heartbreaking. Yeah. Self-inflicted baldness.
My only weird hair story is that if I smoke weed, my hair goes curly. No, it does. It's like it's the strangest thing ever. Is that I remember at school people asked me if I had my hair permed, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, and it's just because.
Do you mean it curls up as you inhale and
literally like I'll be straight. I'll go around my mate's house. We'll roll through split, get stoned, and I'll come out and my hair will be curly.
Yeah, but does it
sounds
straighten
gay.
again when you exhale? Like, is it you breathe in, it curls, and as you exhale, it straightens, or is it?
No, it's just some kind of strange thing. It'd be like it for like a few weeks, and then it'll go back to normal. It's just some weird
nice.
thing. Yeah.
Okay, guys. Five liver. Dukes an authority on women. The women don't know it, but the authorities do. All right. Let me tell you.
That's
something.
good.
Yeah, it's great. I'm really impressed. Let me tell you something, Five Liver. I have never had a serious relationship with a woman who was not a submissive ever.
Dude,
So you're completely wrong, actually.
let's ask Susie what she thinks about bold men. What do you think?
What do you mean? What do I think?
Yay or nay?
Oh my god.
How many bald men?
Hang on.
been
Given the
with?
choice, Susie, would you have a man with hair or would you have a bald man?
Oh, hair, but you know,
Oh,
it's preference, isn't it? It's personal preference. You can't.
No, but hang on, Susie. Fat man with hair or really well built guy with no hair?
What I will say is the hair thing and the height thing are both quite a big deal, but in general, the height thing matters way more to women generally.
What about a
The hair
really small bald man? What does that say to you?
Yeah, that's one end of the scale, yeah, isn't it?
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Don't ask her to talk about Bruce. That's not fair.
not bold. Oh dear. Yeah.
And what if he had a squeaky voice?
Short,
What if he had a
fat,
really
and bold.
Bruce has loads of hair.
How about just a
He's
dwarf?
very short.
How about just a dwarf? How's that do it for you?
I think dwarves could be quite advantageous in certain situations, to be honest. I've never met one.
Are you
I've
being
never met
dirty
one.
again? Are you being dirty?
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm
Okay,
saying they
now.
could be useful.
Really?
Useful in certain... I'm thinking about the building site. There's quite a few times we could have done with maybe a dwarf to, just get in there a little bit. Get in there a bit closer,
Okay, guys. We are getting very close to simping here. All of us. We are
What,
all...
simping for dwarves?
No. We're all getting very close to simping for Susie.
How is simple? Just literally asked her opinion on bold people. I mean,
Yeah.
how is that simping?
Because
I'm simping for dwarves.
Oh,
I'm simping for dwarves.
Come on, guys. Look, we're all getting very close to simping for Susie here, and I don't want to embarrass Susie because she seems a very nice girl. So I would like to look at Tim O'Reilly's sensible comment in the chat when he's saying that, like, a way for a lot of blokes to go, and he's right, and I've said it myself, as he says, is that a lot of blokes would be much better off giving university a miss and getting a trade. Like, being a bricklayer, a plasterer, a fucking electrician, all that kind of stuff. Because it gives you the opportunity to run your own business, to expand your own business if you're good at that shit. And often, I reckon that's a much better way for a lot of guys to go. If you're not into the academic shit, do that stuff. Much better. What do we all think about that? And I'm going to ask Ataman to start, and then after Ataman, I'm going to ask Susie what she thinks about guys who have got professional trades, like that sort of thing.
What you're asking about blue collar?
Yeah, but being a tradie, someone with a skilled trade.
I mean, blue collar is definitely the new white collar. It's I mean, I'm not doing it, but I would. I mean, for other reasons, but I would. I always say to anyone, like that's the place you should be going. Like even like people talk a big game about all this automation stuff. Like air conditioning repairmen aren't going anywhere anytime soon.
Yep.
And I mean, like someone was once arguing with me about automation. He said, "Oh, they literally build cars with machines." I'm like, right, but they don't repair the cars with machines, do they? Like they don't repair the cars by robots. They go, people repair them. And so a lot of that blue trade, blue collar stuff is going to become even more important than it already is. and it will set you
Oh.
up, financially and all sorts. It's definitely the way to go.
Yeah, I agree totally. Susie, what would you think about some bloke who ran his own business, who was a tradie, like he was a plumber or an electrician or a bricklayer, but he ran his own business? Would that?
And he was 4'2".
No,
Cold.
ignore. No, guys, be fair. No, come on. I want to stop this simping shit.
How's that simping? How's that simping?
Because I'm trying to ask Susie an actually intelligent question, because I think she's an intelligent woman.
No, that is simping.
No bollocks. Why? I've got no reason to think she isn't.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't go on about bunny rabbits all the fucking time. So,
What do you think about bunny rabbits, Susie?
They're cute. She probably likes puppies.
She doesn't even say anything. She just sits there and giggles. So, I mean, how do you even know how intelligent she is anyway?
Susie, what I was really asking you, ignoring all this bullshit that's going on around you, like if a bloke ran his own business and he was a plumber or an electrician or something like that, would you regard him in a bad way, or would you think, yeah, cool bloke, can do stuff?
Yeah, no, of course. Very cool, yeah. And also, in general, as someone that works in finance, if you can work for yourself and have a reliable source of income, do that rather than being employed, because it's so much more tax efficient and you have so much more control over your own life. And it's just better for you if you can do that. So if a trade will let you do that, which it will, then go for that. Yeah.
Thank you. So I knew you were a reasonably intelligent guy.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do, basically. But yeah, everyone should work towards fuck you money.
Yes,
No,
yeah, exactly. Fuck
absolutely.
you money, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Thank you. Okay, now Brewers and Grief, what do you think about doing trades?
Well, I mean, I think we both agree. We've talked about it many, many times before. I've said it many times before. I mean, you look at the trade blokes, and they're always much more blokey, much more comfortable with themselves, and a lot more satisfied than guys that work in a slave job.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. That's why I'm doing it again, because I want as many people as possible to see this shit and say, okay, maybe that's what I should do, rather than doing some shit university course that ain't going to get me anywhere.
I mean, I think it's just natural as well. Like, if you have a good organized civilization, then most people will either work for themselves or they'll own their own business or whatever. And I don't think it's natural to have everybody working for corporations, because you're basically just a slave, and then the corporation pushes its agenda down your throat, and it's and then you get stuff like 0-hour contracts or night shifts or 12-hour shifts, or you get put in a funny rota where every week you don't know when you're going to be working, and all kinds of bullshit. You got your LGBTQPSRZ a letter that gets posted to you through the corporation. You got to watch out for what the human resources lady says. I mean, working for a corporation is shit. I mean, the only good thing about it is that that you get paid every week. Whereas if you're trading, then you're always a little bit on your toes, and it's always a little bit of a worry, I suppose. But definitely trading's the way to go.
Great grief! You're in Cornwall. Are there still many like independent fishermen and stuff like that in Cornwall?
Yeah, no, it's all still going on in Newlyn. But no, what strikes me about this place is that young people tend to leave. You seem to have like a good stock of teenagers who are sort of doing college or finishing up school, and nothing in between. And then you just, I don't know, it just seems to jump right straight to like 50, 60 years old, really. There's some like young families here, but they're far and few between. We've got a very like young population who will, unfortunately, probably many of them go up country somewhere to pursue, I don't know whether it's university, but then again, maybe all of that will change because of this COVID stuff and how the country's sort of really, gone nuclear all of a sudden. I'm not too sure, but it seems to be young people down here, and then there's just old people. There's not much in between. There's a healthy stock of like builders, tradespeople. You know what I mean? There's like a small marine industry, but fishing is not booming. It's a niche thing because it's considered dangerous. You know, mothers don't encourage their kids to go into fishing down here. You know, but it is super lucrative. You know, and
Grief, have
go
you
on,
ever,
yeah.
may I ask you, have you ever thought about trying to do some fishing yourself?
Well, no, because
As a
I'm
deckhand, I mean.
no, because I nearly pursued it about a year ago when my work slightly dried up, but every now and then I just sort of like managed to bounce back, and I've got a healthy spell of work at the moment, and I'm much safer on the mainland. I'm a city boy, you know, didn't grow up in the country, and I don't think I do very well at sea. The other thing is, you know, I buy my steaks in a packet. I don't fancy cutting the faces off fishes for 9 hours down in the bulkhead. I honestly don't think I'm cut out for that, you know. I know you fellas like to talk about war a lot, you know, and the ramifications of that, but I don't think I could cut the face off a fish, you know. Or if a crab bit me, that'd be it. End of story. I'm going home, you know. Take me home, turn the boat round, forget it.
Grief. You've got, even if you don't get paid for it, you need to go and do a couple of trips on a Cornish fishing boat of some description. And
Do you mean just for the experience?
Yeah, just go and do it, just so you can say you've done it and you have some idea what it was. And like the British, above all other people in the whole world, are a maritime people.
No, I agree with you.
That's our biggest deal. You know, Britannia rules the waves and all this bollocks.
Well, we'll see how Brexit goes. I mean, you know, maybe the fishing industry will be sort of revived, and obviously, you know, just next door to.
I'd love to see that, mate. But all I'm saying is just for yourself, so that you can come on a stream like this and say, "Well, look, I've done this, so I've got some little idea." Get some bloke, and I'm sure you could easily do this. Get some bloke who you know where you are to say, "Look, can I do a trip with you, mate?"
Yeah, it's no, I've looked into it, and it's a simple 2-week course, and then you are legally allowed to go to sea. All right, but the fishermen down here, I'm talking about the young ones that I've met. You know, they are a special breed. You know, really special breed, and I kind of only after spending 5 minutes with them, I realised I wasn't really part of that strain. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you're an Englishman. You've still got that in you, mate.
Yeah, but these are Cornishmen. They're mental.
Yeah,
you know
of course. So what you got to do? I mean, like I remember when I first went on an East Coast fawn trawler in Australia out of Cairns. They all looked at me and they said, "Who's this pommy bastard?" You know, and all this stuff. But you just got to do what you got to do, you know. And eventually, if you do what you got to do well enough, they will respect you. And that's a man thing.
No, that's the part I do agree with you with. It would be a sort of super manly thing to experience and achieve, but I don't know, as an experience. See, I'm not one. See, also a kind of manly thing to do would be like go skydiving or climb up a big rock, or do you know what I mean? There's X amount of ways you can.
Only silly cunts jump out of perfectly good aeroplanes.
Okay, yeah.
Like I can swim, but I can't fly.
But would you agree that only silly cunts go fishing 350 miles off the coast of England? Really, you can catch a fish in the sunshine with a beer, can't you? Off the coast?
Because, fuck me, man. Like every single time I've been anywhere near a coast, anywhere in the world, where there was a boat that I could get on, I've got on it and done it. Because it's what English guys have always done. Because we're the greatest island nation in the world. And the greatest maritime nation in the world.
Yeah, but Duke, I was born in the very late 80s, and I'm considered the spawn of London. I'm sort of like a creation of Beelzebub. Do you see what I mean? Which is why I'm
really, because look where you're living.
Oh no! Well, yeah. Well, no, I moved because I realised that, like, oh god, this place is like all set up to do you in. You know what I mean? So I literally moved.
But the way to join those people, to some degree, obviously only to some degree because you're not from there, but to some degree, is do a couple of trips to see. I'm sure if you said, I mean, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, maybe you get really seasick or something like that. But like,
No, I've never been.
Well, I would just do it because, like, I'd say this would be a great adventure.
It certainly would. Yeah, no, it certainly would. Yeah, but then maybe you could just do a spot of camping. You know, I don't know.
No, it's
like
not the
ease
same.
yourself
It's
into
not.
it.
It's not the same as going to sea, mate. On a working trawler, going to sea is a big deal, man. It's cool. It's just really cool.
All right. Well, I'll consider it, but I managed to pull in a couple of quid just painting old people's bedrooms. Do you know what I mean? So I'll stick with that. I know that's not very heroic or manly, and there's no majesty
I'm not
in.
slagging you off, mate. I'm just saying.
No, I know
in
that.
Cornwall, like if I lived in Mousehole, the idea of fucking going to sea with a Mousehole fisherman, I go, this is like 250 years of British history that I'm going to do now.
Yeah.
I get very excited by British history because it's so brilliant, and like the British people are so brilliant, and like to go to sea with a Mousehole fisherman. Like I've been to Mousehole and I loved it. I thought it was great. Like I told you, it was one of the first books.
It's a special place. Yeah, it's a very special place.
It's beautiful, but to live near there and to be able to go out to one of these blokes and say, look, mate, I don't want you to pay me, but if you're going to do a week's trip or a 4-day trip, could you please take me with you?
Yeah. They'll pay you, and they'll pay you about $3,500 for a week's trip. That's why it's so sort of like lucrative, you know. People love it. Yeah,
mate. If that was me, I'd just go. Because you're getting British history, like now, you know. This is the whole thing we're missing.
Maybe that should be an integral part of the thing. If they do plan on sort of reviving the fishing industry, which I doubt, but like if that is a thing that's on the cards for this country, then I say combine that argument with a bit of like stealth, white flight. Look, if you're thinking of leaving the cities, come to Cornwall, and you know, all you lads can go and work in the fishing industry. We're going to try and boom it, type thing. You know, it's pie in the sky, but like that sounds comfy, and that would support everything you're saying, wouldn't it, Duke? Do you know what I mean? If there's a revival of fishing, then encourage.
We've got to be back to our roots and back to where we are.
Right.
I just don't understand why any English guy or British guy would not want to get on a British fishing boat and do a week or two at sea. Because it's an adventure. It's a fucking adventure. And then
you're totally right, but you're not. I just think I suppose the thing here is you're not considering things like Minecraft and pornography. And you know what else?
Well, you can get pornography anywhere if you really want it.
Well, you can't get it at sea. That's a bonus, isn't it?
No, okay.
Actually, you can. Actually, my friend's dad.
2 weeks of no pornography.
No, listen to this for a job description. My friend's dad used to sell pornography off a boat. He used to go around all the fishing boats and around the dock and that in a little dinghy with loads of DVDs of pornography.
So you're not telling me that people on boats used to watch pornography, are you?
Well, I'm just saying, what would you call that? That's some job, isn't it? Like, how would you explain that to the wife? Like, or what's the job description? I'm not sure, but yeah,
I think all these guys go way overboard about pornography. I think pornography is something that all blokes kind of watch or look at, and it doesn't make any fucking difference. Like when I was in the army, most of the reading material, not mine, but most of the reading material of the other guys was things like Sven Hassel books with titles like 12 SS Battalion Freezing Death or Playboys or that sort of shit. I mean,
Yeah, there's a
that
very
was-
big
that was-
difference
it
between a
was
glossy
useful.
magazine and it being on tap worldwide in constant production and also suggested to you, and also like increasing in kind of hardcoreness, you know, at an exponential rate. Also mixing in the racial narrative, sort of like it's all interwoven in. The whole thing is a mess. It's horrible, isn't it? You know.
I just don't take any notice of any of that shit. But
Well,
yeah, I
I'm
mean,
just- yeah.
look, people will take notice of all sorts of shit. I know they do. I don't know. Where the fuck is Brewers gone? Has he decided?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm not going to say anything for a minute. Give others a chance to say a few things.
Brewers
Yeah.
always pisses off without saying anything, which I think is a bit rude, but you know, whatever.
We used to say, go on.
Sorry, carry on, Grief. Beg your pardon.
Oh no, we used to say he's gone to KFC. That was like a meme from a couple of years ago, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard that one. Could well be. Adamant, look, you're a younger bloke than me, and I still think, like, if I lived in a port where I could go to sea for a week or 2 weeks or something like that on a trawler or a fishing boat of some description, I'd just do it for the adventure. I wouldn't really care if I got paid much, to be honest. What do you think about that, mate?
Yeah. It's hard with young men now, I think, though, because they do want adventure. Deep down, they really do. But you know, the idea of that sort of stuff has been sort of deconstructed in their eyes into away from what it is.
Yeah.
So they don't really sort of appreciate what it is that they're looking for. So this is why they instead run off to, you know, university so they can shag and drink for 3 years, and they think that that's their sort of coming of age story.
Yeah. Well, also
Yeah,
you go
good
on
point.
adventures in video games and sort of stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
And like,
Very good,
you know,
Ren.
but like personally, I mean, I'm on a completely and utterly lame adventure, sort of like musically, you know. But traditionally, this wouldn't, you know, because I'm not musically gifted, but like, you know, I'm spending all this flipping money on these flipping like boxes that beep and stuff. And the point here is like young men, you know, lots of people are pursuing avenues that classically or traditionally wouldn't have been approved of. Do you see what I mean? I mean, yes, I'm not like a full-scale bug man. I'm not watching Star Wars and clapping and crying my eyes out of the title, you know? I don't watch any modern film, but like, you know, just pursuing something as sort of, what would be the word? I'm struggling for the word, but just as sort of useless in a way. Yes, some of it sounds nice, but it's kind of useless in the grand scheme of things. Like back in the day, somebody twiddling with these synthesizers, you're just considered a nerd. You're not going anywhere. It's not a goal that should be like really applauded. Do you see what I mean? And billions of young men are just pursuing this, and it's considered their identity nowadays. Do you see what I mean? People forge identities in like sort of frivolous things, and that's just essentially what we consider society nowadays, isn't it? You know, it's probably always been that way, but the point is that the amount of dead ends a young man can go down, and a young woman, the amount of dead ends you can actually go down, they're sort of infinite in modernity. Whereas I think in the past, there was only a few ways you could put your foot wrong and really screw up. Whereas now, there's just infinite avenues for you to become like weird or useless to the status quo. Do you know what I mean? Is that nonsense, or does anyone understand? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
Yeah, no, I get it. I remember years and years ago when I was maybe like 15 years old. I was born in 1965, so this is a long time ago. There was a program on UK TV, might have been BBC, I can't remember, but it was about this dude from the middle of Glasgow, I think. And he decided he wanted to become a Scottish fisherman. So he went to like a Scottish fishing port, which in those days there were a lot. And it was basically his story. And he got the piss taken out of him for the first 2 trips he did. But by the 3rd trip, he'd worked out what was going on, and it was all cool. And it was kind of like a typical male adventure story. Like, this guy went out, he did this stuff, didn't know what he was doing at first, but he gradually learned. And by his 3rd trip, like, he was a veteran and could understand what he was doing. And I think this is like, we don't get this anymore for men. Like, he went to Aberdeen, I think it was Aberdeen. And like, you know, you go out into the North Sea and the seas would be enormously rough and it would be really cold. But eventually he knew what the fuck he was doing and he was a man, you know?
I think there's probably potentially lots of ways you can make your young men as a population more manly, you know, and sort of wean them off certain, degenerate or just
but they have to
dead
they
ends,
have to have adventures. They have to have adventures.
Oh yes, certainly. I was going to say the way the key thing is that they have to want to do it together. You know, it's all for me, and I think for most people going through life, it's always like, oh, I like that because I sort of want to be part of that group. I just want to sort of connect with that. It's not always the thing you want to do. You know, it's a way of attaching yourself to a functioning, cohesive, small group of people. You know, it's like, oh right, I'm going to give that kind of identity a bit of a shot, you know. So I think basically if your mates want to do it, then you'll probably do it, you know. And there's loads of ways that you can make your boys just a bit more manly, you know. And just simple things like being cold, going in the sea when it's very, very cold, you know, all together, or like playing football, you know. And,
I think it's more about
fighting.
skills. I think it's more about skills, Groove.
Sure, but the thing is, you don't want it to become too intellectual. You want a mixture of both, because when it becomes very intellectual, it becomes very, very gay, very, very quickly. Do you see what I mean? And you veer away from that masculinity, and all of a sudden it's an idea sphere, and everyone's bickering. Would you agree with that? I think sometimes you just want to go and like have a punch up in the snow a little bit, you know, on a Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never really wanted to have a punch up in the snow.
Or go to sea on a trawler, like your idea. Like I'm just saying,
that's more different. But like when I first went on East Coast prawn trawler in Australia out of Cairns, I did 89 days. We worked 88 of those nights, because if you're prawn trawling in Australia, unless you're after banana prawns, all the other prawns are night work. And we worked 88 out of 89 days. And by the end of it, me and the skipper, who were the only 2 people on the boat, were chucking
the only 2 people alive, you mean?
Well, yeah, kind of almost.
That would have made a good film, wouldn't it? Yeah.
But we were chucking crates at each other because we were so fucking annoyed with each other. And then, like, you got to understand that my late woman had died just before that. And then when I got into Cairns, I got about $4,000 and killed it in a weekend. And on one occasion, this same skipper, who we were throwing crates at each other, put me over his shoulder and carried me home and stuck me in an hotel one night because I was so fucking drunk. So yeah.
God's Own in the chat said people do Tough Mudders, charity marathons, and climbing, etc. One of the funny things I always thought about that though is all that stuff is there, but the barrier to entry has kind of climbed a bit. I've been on the Eurotunnel a few times, right? You know, the tunnel that goes under the Channel over France, and like if you go on there, you'll see a lot of guys, like, because I've gone over there on my motorbike, and you'll see a lot of guys on there, big groups of them going on their motorbikes away, and they're going on a bit of an adventure. If you went back like 20 to 30 years, maybe a bit longer, they'd all be like teenagers or young 20-somethings on piece of shit motorbikes, just with a few bare bits strapped on them. Now it's all older guys with very expensive touring bikes and that. And it's almost as if there's an element to which consumerism maybe has sort of pushed what people's expectation is as the barrier for entry to actually have an adventure like that is, and it's kind of pushed that barrier up quite a lot.
Yeah, no, that's true.
That's a
Guys,
good observation. Yeah.
guys, where I was just about to ask our resident lady a really important question. Why has she left? Please come back. I was just going to ask you a really important question. See, this is why we don't rely on women, because they leave when you're just about to ask them something.
It's getting a bit
Oh,
late,
I've just
though. I'm sure she wants
refreshed.
to get a
Yeah,
bit of
it's
reading
just
in before bed.
yeah. Don't you usually just go for 3 hours, Duke? Like
No,
midnight?
I usually go for 3 to 4 hours.
Oh, okay.
Is that not true, Armand? 3 to 4 hours? I think
Yeah,
that's our average.
usually about 3.5, something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I suggest I can hang about for a little while longer if you like. But yeah, I suggest just like put a little topic out your ass and we'll discuss it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy to do that. But I was actually just about to ask our female friend a question. But there we go. Doesn't matter. God's own prototype ain't simp rage. Trust me. For me to have the slightest interest in a woman today, to paraphrase my dear old dead dad, she would have to have like diamonds all around her cunt.
Oh, delightful, charming, absolutely charming. Yeah.
Not charming, just true, man. Just true. My interest in women these days is like
Yeah.
Would you have said that? I'm amused.
Would you have said that as a caveat to your question if Susie were still here? I wonder. I mean, it's the tone has changed within the last.
Yeah, no, I would, mate. I would have done that.
God.
I would have done that. I have a very limited. I'm fucking 55. I have a
think my personal opinion of women. I think they're great. I just think they're all right.
Yeah, I think they're great too.
Don't bother me too much. I'm not looking to go after you. Been there, done that. It's a bit
never
didn't really get the hang of it.
Never rely on them. Never rely on them. They're amusing.
Well, yeah.
They're amusing. They're pretty. They look pretty naked in collars and gauges. They do. Not saying I've ever done that, but I might have.
You're like Duke. You're like the bloopers from a Roger Moore film.
I'm more than no. Roger Moore would be like a cuck compared to me, but there we go.
All right. Well, the cut content, I suppose. Yeah. Anyway, look.
Sojourner, I do not need to get on TRT and get my libido up. Done loads of libido things were ruined. But right now, or for some time really, they're just not worth it. I mean, they're just not. Brutus, I'm glad you came on. That was cool, and I'm not having to go out. Other than that, you can go and get fucked off. But there we go.
Yeah, well, Duke, listen, thanks for having me on. It was nice to talk to you all. And
me too, man.
Pop on another time, eh? I think if you want my take on it, 3 hours is always the sweet spot. You know what I mean? I'm starting to slur my words, and I think.
So you told us you were drunk long before you came on.
Yeah, but now the tiredness is set in, so it's sort of like that. That
Mate,
little mixture.
I'm very happy to have you on, Grief, and you can come on anytime you like. All right.
No, thank you very much. No, nice to talk to you. Yeah, finally, and good laugh earlier. So I'll see you later, Ataman. Top man, speak soon, eh?
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, see you later, guys.
He's a good guy. Okay. Adam and I'm about to invite 2 more people. If I can get it right. Right, where are we? Adam, what do you think about this show so far? Just while we're
It's been
waiting.
good.
I don't know. I'm trying to avoid the normal fucking alt-right bollocks, but apart from that, yeah, whatever. I'm just about to invite 2 more people on who I hope will come on. Okay, that's what I want. What is your general impression of like modern women, Em?
I sometimes I find some of the stuff in our circles a bit cringy towards women because
Yeah,
I mean essentially they are victims of modernity the same as most of the young men are.
agreed.
And you know, I mean, like people often laugh about the whole like trad thought thing, or not trad thought, but like trad girls in general. And
Yeah,
generally, like some of the stereotypes and imagery around like the trad girl is a bit over the top and ridiculous.
I agree.
And but the thing is that like in the same way as men, girls that are like more traditionally minded definitely exist, and they are out
Mhm.
there, and that there's actually often quite a few of them, but you don't sort of see them because they're not within our circles. And I mean, why would they be within our circles? There is ultimately quite a lot of misogyny, so you know that's
Mhm.
just the way it is.
Yeah, I kind of agree, but I also think to some degree, like misogyny is kind of natural, if you see what I mean. Um, I think, like, there's loads of good things about chicks, but they're not men, and they don't think like men, and that many of the bad things that have happened in the West since, I don't know, say 1950, many of those are related to giving feminism too much power and influence.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even on that instance, I don't know if it's still true, but I think uh, like a while ago, it was like less than 1 in 5 women actually refer to themselves as a feminist.
Mm-hmm.
So even in that instance, that was always kind of an issue of like the noisy minority, which has always been a problem with the left anyway. Like that's
Yeah,
always been the issue with fighting them. It's they're just a noisy bunch of nobodies.
yeah, absolutely agree with that. I don't think most women are feminists, and even a lot of women who say they are feminists don't actually support feminist ideals, if that makes any sense.
Mm.
So yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I don't know. Um, what I find is a combination of like any slightly good woman gets loads of simping, and I guess I could even say I did that a little bit with Susie. Um, and so it's understandable in a way because like you want to see good women. But like I don't know. I like Dora of Albion's content. She makes great content. She makes really, really excellent videos. But every single fucking video she makes or stream she does, she gets 55,000 people tell her how wonderful she is, you know? And like having like watched a lot of her stuff, I certainly don't think she's fat. I'd be very surprised if she's ugly. I don't think she's either of those things. And she's obviously an English and British girl. But like it can't be healthy having 55,000 simps around you all the time. Do you know what I mean, Adam?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like one of the points sometimes people make is they'll say that like women have it easier online because they can get a bigger audience because they're women, and like
Yeah,
that's
which they
definitely
do.
true. Yeah,
Yeah,
but at the
yeah.
same time, I think it's the same as like how kids, right? Lots of young kids will say, "I want to be famous," but most people don't really know what comes along with being famous. You know, there's a lot of instances where these people will see things that they think they want, like popularity on YouTube by being a trad thought or whatever, and don't realize that that's actually kind of hollow and a bit of a shitty thing to go after.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that totally.
So it's kind of another one of these sort of trappings, but instead of being a trapping in sort of modern society, it's a trapping within our own circles.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, this is the point I was trying to make, is that like we attack like feminists and all the rest of it, but if you're a woman and you're a vaguely nationalist woman, you'll get more 55,000 honeybee simps around you than you will if you're a left-wing woman, if you see what I mean.
Mm.
I just don't understand how people can't see that.
Yeah, I think a lot for a lot of people though they kind of sit in denial about it though, don't they? They don't think it's them. They
Yeah,
think it's everyone but them.
yeah, they do. Oh, you're a wonderful guy. Listen, I'm not immune to this, and you probably just saw it with this chicky baby who was on our stream. I'm not immune to it. I'll be nice to her. Like all of my adult life, for basically by my dad, but by my grandfather as well, I've been taught to be nice to girls. You know, that's what I was taught to be. And I am nice to girls. And I am also, as a heterosexual male, I kind of like chicks with pretty voices and all this kind of stuff. So it's not unnatural, but you do also have to, sort yourself out a bit.
Yeah.
And like, I didn't like, for example, Grief Tony where he say, oh, I'm less well read than you, which I would very much doubt is true. I mean, it might be, but I don't know what Grief's read, and I certainly don't know what Susie's read, you know? The only thing I would say about Susie is most of the answers she gave to questions were like, as far as I was concerned, pretty realistic and the sort of answers you would expect from a reasonably intelligent woman. So, cool. But you can't like men bad, women good is just bollocks. And you have to get rid of that shit.
Yeah.
Hang on. Here we go. We got Sojo with us. How you going, mate? How you going, Sojo, mate? No, hang on. He's got himself muted. Sure, he'll come back. Sojo, you were muted, mate. Come back. Hang on. Bolero393 says, but Duke, what did she add? Nothing. I presume that was about the goal. I thought like she was pretty good. I thought she spoke honestly. I thought she had a very pretty voice, and she's probably a reasonably very girl. So yeah, she had it. Sorry. How you going, Sojo? How you going, Sojo? Yeah, mate.
Not too bad, thank you. What are you talking about? I can't really follow what you're talking about.
We were talking about the girl we had on earlier. Atman, what was her name?
Susie.
Susie, there you go. We were talking about Susie, who we had on earlier, who I think was actually pretty honest as girls go about what girls like and don't like.
Oh, right. Okay. I've missed out. I've been out, so I've not been listening.
Ah, okay. So you've been out chasing real women as opposed to internet women.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I've just been out to see my brother and cousin.
Oh, okay.
So
That's not
no women involved.
not quite the same.
No,
Not quite.
boys' night.
Okay. Are you still in UK social, or have you moved yet?
No, I'm still in the UK. Sort of finishing up bits and pieces. With my
Are
property.
you allowed to move when you want?
I can. I mean, I'm a resident of another country, so I can. There's no restrictions on me going back to my country of residence.
Oh, cool. All right then. You looking forward to that or what?
Yeah, fucking definitely get back to some sun, good weather. I can't tell you how depressing I found it being back in the UK. I got back and it's like there's clouds and you haven't seen the sun in months. It's just, I just can't do it.
I have a mate who is in the RAF regiment, and he's just got posted to Cyprus, and he got there, and the like senior NCO said, "Look, guys, this is basically a boys' holiday, except when we're working." So he's quite happy actually about that. So yeah, and the RAF regiment, by the way, are the one bit of the RAF I have some respect for, because they had to do a bayonet charge in World War II and they won it. So there you go. I don't have a talent for misunderstanding Five Liver. What are you saying? Grief was saying that not all women are dumb and all men are smart. There are a few relatively smart women as well as stupid men. Well, I'm sorry, but like that's pretty obvious to everybody, and I'd even like make it a bit wider. There's loads of dumb men, and there are more than a few smart women. But what they want from the world is totally different. You know? There are very smart women who, having their man have a cage in his sitting room that they put them in occasionally, they would like that. Okay? There are. There just are. Women are not men.
I'm sorry, what did I just hear?
You had just heard me being really sexist, so Joe, don't worry about it.
Oh no, I'm confused about who's going in the cage, the man or the woman.
Oh, well, of course the woman, for God's sake. Jesus Christ.
I don't know, it needs to be clarified.
Women look cute naked in collars and all on all fours.
Sure.
That is not the case for men, all right? But it's true for women. And many women find that quite cute. But don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, I think the whole feminism thing is overblown.
Vast, yeah, it is. It's vast.
I'm just saying that when I have my own sort of normal world interactions with people, it just doesn't even come up.
No, it doesn't. This is the thing we were talking about with Susie. We were saying, like, does a woman care if a man has hair? Does a woman care if the man is tall? Does a woman care if a bloke is running his own business as a tradie? And like all of those things, she was saying, yeah, no, they don't. Like women basically want to look up to blokes. I mean, like, and that's not rocket science. That's just like the whole history of the human race, you know? Like women don't regard themselves as the same as blokes. But the sensible ones, actually, that's not even true. Even the fucking idiot women don't regard themselves as equal to blokes. But there we go.
What do you guys think about the male variability hypothesis?
Go on, explain it to me, please.
So it's like the idea that that if you look at like a bell curve, men are more represented on either ends of the bell curve, as women are more represented in the middle. So
Yeah, no,
like the
true.
average IQ between men and women is the same, but there's more genius men than there are genius women, and also
Yeah.
more stupid men than stupid women.
Yeah, I
So
agree with
it's
that.
like a bit flatter, as it were.
Yeah, totally true.
I think it
that's
goes
true.
beyond that as well. They basically say that like men are overrepresented in everything. So like we're seeing now with like going back to we were talking about the trans thing earlier, like men are now winning like Women of the Year awards as transgender women. So men are even outdoing women in the category of literally being a woman.
There is a good MGTOW channel run by a guy called Coltane, who's an Aussie bloke. And he's a rich, well, I wouldn't say he's rich. He's a relatively well-off, pretty skilled Aussie bloke, so far as I can see. I don't agree with him totally. I think he's completely wrong about bringing up families, because I think having a woman at home for your little kids is really good, and I think he's totally wrong about that. But he's done stuff on this, and basically speaking, you can't rely on this bollocks about men and women the same, because they're not. They're just not. Like I said, there are things I don't agree with Colton on. But I do think that, like, being a guy and having a cage to put your chicken, probably ain't a bad idea. Like, keep her naked, don't let her go on the furniture, collar her. That's good for women, and most healthy women will kind of like that to a large
Have you been
degree.
drinking?
No, mate. I'm telling you,
just had to ask.
No, Sojourner, this is the whole truth of my life since I was 19. When I was 19, I was on leave from the British Army, and I went to the south of France, and this really cute French girl of about 30, i.e., like, considerably older than me, wanted me to beat her ass with a belt. And I did, because, like, why wouldn't you? We had sex and all this crap. And since then, I've never really got heavily involved with women who were not submissive. And actually, that's the biggest advice I'd give a guy. Don't get involved with a woman who doesn't absolutely admit she's submissive. Because all women are, like, even your average chicks, they want to be hammered from behind while you grab their hair and pull their head back. This is not the best thing to do as a nationalist channel, but I'm just going to say the truth. All women like that shit. But, like, go for a woman who actually, like, says it out loud, and keep it that way. Don't get involved with these, like, feminists. Nah, not interested. Women who think they're equal to you, nah, don't get involved with it. Never do. I just won't. Like, because women are not equal to me. They never will be. And I don't care. Just, like, go for a girl who admits she's a submissive girl. She'll do as she's told. And that's traditional. And it's just traditional for men and women. So yeah, I don't care about this feminist bollocks anymore. I'm really bored of it. It's like I'm bored with the Nazi stuff and all the rest of it. Like, women only like men they can look up to. God's own prototype. You're not right. You're not right about that at all. Don't get involved with the BDSM community because that's like a left-wing bollocks. Never get involved with that shit. But no, go for a woman who like, though she's not equal to a man. She's just different.
I don't know. I think God's Own might have a little bit of a point there. I mean, you do see there's a lot of what would you say, damaged goods.
Oh yeah, look, but who's not damaged goods, Adam? Who's not?
Well, yeah, but some are significantly more damaged than others.
Yeah, okay, I suppose. I don't know. I'm 95% of women I've met in my life had daddy issues. 95% of them. That might have been because their dad was there or their dad was not there. Their dad was great or their dad was horrible, but they all had daddy issues.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't even care about that shit. I just think like if you want to be a traditional black, look for a woman who's submissive and says she is, because then you don't have to lie. Just say, look, this is the deal. We'll do this. And yeah, okay, she can take you to court, and in the modern world, she'll probably win. But it's better than going into some sort of vanilla relationship that you absolutely have lost before you even start. That's the only thing I would say about that. I don't know. I wouldn't want to be a young man now, I have to say. It was bad enough in my day. Nowadays, almost anything you do can be used against you. Like, they really want you to be a gay person now.
Mm.
I don't know. That's all I want to think. The surgeon is just fuck off.
Well, it is late. It is 12:30. I was going to say, were you going to wrap up? Because I'm going to go to
Yeah,
bed,
no,
so-
we are going to wrap up. But I was hoping Sojourner wasn't such a coward. But there we go. Yeah, all right. Guys, before we do wrap up, let me just say Wednesday, hopefully, we'll have a Great Brit stream. And I'm hoping, hang on, Cardamom, how many women are in your cages at the moment, Duke? Not a single one, mate. Not a single one. And haven't been for quite some time. I don't care about women these days, mate. Like, honestly, she'd have to have diamonds around her arsehole for me to even slightly care these days. But yeah, hopefully on Wednesday, we'll do our next Great British stream. And I'm hoping all of us, which is to say Adam and Sojourner and maybe Burris, plus me, will have 5 Brits to talk about. And we can then like kind of talk about what's going on. And then on Friday this week, I hope to have a old British Commonwealth stream that will be at least one Australian and one Canadian, although I'm hoping for 2 Australians at the moment. Talking about the British Old Commonwealth. Apart from that, Adam, thank you for coming on.
Yep, nice.
Guys, yeah, no worries, man. The other guys who came on, even Sojourner, who only dared to briefly come on, because he's a new soy boy. Apart from that, that's fine. And hopefully I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Good evening.